Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast episode 180. Turns out a lot of stuff happened this week, and now a lot of stuff's going to happen next week. So there's quite a bit of stuff to go over here tonight. We might be skipping some of what we've played this week, mostly because not a lot of new stuff came out. Like I just mostly did Tony Hawk and some more Project Cars 3. But we'll go through some of it pretty quickly to get into the PS5 showcase that got announced today, like randomly on a weekend. The Xbox Series S and X got a whole bunch of information. So Rand is going to be joining us tonight to help us get through that. Rand, what's going on?
What's going on? Thanks for having me on again. And it seems like every time I'm on, RGT's not here.
No, that's true. He's not here again.
Possibly the same person.
Yeah. Our Sean was he said he had a chest cold or something. He's sick. Pink eye. Okay, we'll go with that. He's sick tonight, so he won't be on. But we brought in Rand to fill in and talk to us about some of this Xbox stuff that's going on. So Rand, good to have you on tonight. Let's go over to MVG. MVG, big week for MVG too.
Thank you very much. Yep. Shantae pre-order went out yesterday.
He launched a game.
Yeah.
Awesome. A Switch game, baby. Shantae. Make sure you check it out. MVG his name will be. You're gonna take a picture of your name in the credits and everything, I assume.
Yeah, name's in the credits. Check out the game if you guys like Shantae. It's obviously just the original Game Boy Color version on the Switch. It's a lot of fun, so check it out. Limited run games. I'll have it for a couple of weeks for pre-order, so check it out.
It is a good game. Shantae is a very good game there, so that's really cool. I did pre-order it on limited run games, so I will grab it physically next year. So let's go over to Miss Click. How's it going?
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me.
You're back after getting ejected out of the spaceship. So good to see you made it back.
Can we talk about that? I know we're not talking about games we played this week, but for those of you who were here, we did play Among Us all together, and I was betrayed by certain people.
I was killed. I was killed as a human. I was only killed by other humans. I never got stabbed. Well, okay, never mind. Spawnwave murdered me once. There was one time where Spawnwave straight up said everybody, I'm gonna murder Dreamcast guy, and everyone went ha 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 ha, and everyone left the room, and he snapped my neck instantly.
It was really strange because I just thought I want to see if I can just get Miss Click kicked out. So I just ran back to the table, hit the button, and I was like, I feel threatened by Miss Click. She tried to run into the room, and then 5 seconds later, she was ejected into space. So it worked.
It works. That was so much fun.
Yeah, we'll try to do that again. That was fun, and I'll let people know when we do it because we'll have. I think that, what they said, we have 10 people in there.
10 total, yeah, and I think we're aiming for Thursday. I think there's a loose talks of maybe doing it Thursday.
All right. We'll see if we get all kinds of people in there. So you get OJ in there, and
really?
Yeah, we were looking for somebody else. And I thought Miss Click was trying to message you.
But then everybody was like, "Oh, I got one game in me," and they're like, "Don't get him to only play one game." So I was like, "Oh, okay." I thought of you, OJ. I did bring your name up. Just saying.
It's okay. It's good. I'm just.
You're probably too busy anyway.
Well, we were trying to figure out how long we were gonna play because it's on Steam. It's like $5, but it's a really fun game. I think it's free on cell phones too with crossplay. It's free on cell phones, so it's kind of cool. But it's a really fun game. So we'll try to play it again on stream because it was a good time. Nate is with us. What's up, Nate?
Not too much. Fun week.
It was a fun week, and it sounds like this week coming up is also going to be fun. So like the back half of September. Because after this week coming up, then we have Tokyo Game Show coming up then after that. So like the back half of this month is going to be pretty good. I think a lot of stuff is going to be happening. So it's
rip wallets.
Every week of September is basically going to have an announcement of some sort for PlayStation, Microsoft, Nintendo fans. Nintendo's been heavy in the last 2 weeks. I mean, we just had Hyrule Warriors. So there's still more Nintendo stuff to come this month. That doesn't mean it's a direct. Don't go to Twitter and Era and Reddit and say, oh my God, Nate hit another direct. No, I didn't. It just means there's still stuff for Nintendo Switch to get announcements this month.
Twitter. Okay.
If someone tweets this, I swear to God, I'll get this podcast removed from the internet.
Well, yeah, we're going to talk about Hyrule Warriors too with the Switch 4K rumor stuff. So that'll be fun. What's up, Max?
Really good. So I'll be brief. I have been playing 25 hours this week of just Persona 5 Royale. I love this game. I played the original. This has so much new character and side activities, and the dungeons are remixed. If you haven't played it, probably one of the best RPGs ever.
I played the original, and I thought the original was like 100 some. It's like 100 something hours. And I'm like, do I want to go back and do the Royal Edition again? I don't know, because eventually Scramble's gonna come out, and I'll go to that. But
yeah,
I thought about picking up Royal just to get it again, and I don't know. We'll see.
It's cool. I still think that like. Yeah, it's definitely for new fans more than returning fans. Like, I think Spawnwave, you're probably one of those people, since you still have to beat the original 100 hours before you get to the new stuff.
Yeah,
that's a lot to ask.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, the way they did it, they kind of tried to make it seem as if, I mean, it is like a new game, but dude, like people who already played it, they have to go through so much. They try to add some stuff in, like with the new student, even during in like the regular like game, but it's not enough for some to justify going through all of that again, especially if you're stressed on time. So that's just gotta keep it in mind. It takes a long time to actually get to where her part is, and you're like, dang, that'd be, this is awesome. It would have been nice if they gave you an option, for like people who'd already just to be able to play that part. But
it even recognizes your save file. It won't load it, but it sees your save file, and it gives you a bunch of money and potions at the beginning of the game saying, thanks for playing Persona 5, but now you got to do the whole game again.
It gives you 50,000 yen for at the beginning of the game, which I didn't know until later. And then I checked my box like, hey, you found 50,000 yen. Thanks for playing Persona 5. I was like, great.
we got OJ here tonight. What's going on, OJ?
What's up, man? Glad to be here. Yeah. So yeah, I know we're not talking about games that we've played, right? So
we're trying to go through because we have all these things to go over. So
all right.
Why would you play? What'd you play?
Nothing.
Hit us one.
I played Tony Hawk.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I'm almost done. I'm almost done Tony Hawk. I think I have 100% on the first one and like 90% on the second Tony Hawk. So I'm working through it.
Music's really good. The new music's really good. There's a couple artists on there that I was like, oh, I had no idea. Some of their songs are older and they're really good. The stuff with like Tech Nine, really good stuff, so I like it.
Jordan, what's up, man?
What's going on?
You watching The Boys, right?
I've not watched it yet.
The film wave coming up?
Yeah, we'll talk about film wave coming up.
Oh, okay. You haven't watched any of The Boys at all, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard. I don't like the episodic thing, but for film wave, I'll do what I have to do.
Okay. I mean, you got 4 episodes. You could binge right now, 4 hours of it.
Yeah, but then I got 4 more to go, and I gotta wait.
Yeah, you do have to wait. You do.
So sad.
You do. And then Evan,
what's
up? What's going on? It's good to have Evan here. Evan pondering the 3080 decision right now.
Oh yeah, I just need to know the measurements. That's all.
Jeff has it, so tell him to put it down on the table and tell him to like put the card down and like draw out the card and then measure it and
put a banana next to it.
Yes, there you go.
Definitely.
Yeah. We're trying to figure out if it'll fit in your case, basically. So
yeah, in the current build, I might have to change some things. If not,
if you got to ask, it probably doesn't.
The question is how close is it, at least in one dimension, to the 2060? Because then it's fine. But if it's a little bit bigger, then no.
So let's go to a Discord question, Evan.
Okay.
Here's one of those.
Let's see, we got a Metal Gear question of the week. Whatever happened to the Metal Gear Solid movie? It was supposedly in production several times. If a Metal Gear movie does eventually make its way to cinema, what story would you like to see them focus on?
Oh wow, what did happen to that?
It is still in production.
Is it still happening? Okay.
They talked about it. I think they even released some art. It's by the guy who did Kong Skull Island, which is a surprisingly good movie.
Roberts, I think his name is.
I swear they released some concept art. I think they even said the script is done, and I think they said it's going to be the original Snake story of like the original Shadow Moses Island. They haven't said more than that though, but it still exists.
I mean, that's a game that should turn into a movie much easier than most games.
Yes, you could take the game script and just film it.
Yeah, you really could for a lot of it. So that seems like perfect to do that. So we'll see. Hopefully it actually does happen. How many Discord questions do we have anyway, Evan? Just so we have it.
About like 6 or 7. Yeah.
You want to do another one, and then we'll go into the first topic, which is the Xbox event. Or
what's
Xbox
your
series.
favorite song you would put in a video game? I'm guessing he just wants to match a
favorite song to put in a video game.
My Body is a Cage by Arcade Fire. It's dramatic and epic, and I feel like you could put in a lot of Final Fantasies, and it would be perfect.
I don't know. I don't really think about that.
Anything with Hans Zimmer.
True.
Anything animals as leaders in any action game. So
You know what? I'm going to come up with a song nobody would ever say. Frank Zappa's Dynamo Hum in a Tony Hawk game. If you don't know the song, look it up on YouTube and your mind will be blown.
Mate, I thought you were going to say Let the Bodies Hit the Floor by Drowning Pool.
Yeah, baby.
It's more of a date song.
Dynamo Hum. Dynamo Hum. Nobody listen to that song. If you're a child, do not listen to it around your parents. They will beat you.
So I guess we'll go to Xbox news first, because it was a very weird week for Microsoft. We started up Monday, and their plans were next week we'll show off the Series S, and in what was people thought was a controlled leak, that was not a controlled leak at all. That was not supposed to happen. I don't know if just marketing material got out there. Brad Sams dropped the screenshot, then the trailer itself dropped, and then like 6 hours later, not even, Microsoft just announced everything, the Series S, and then the next day the Series X got announced, and then they wrapped it all up in a nice press release. All of that happened in 24 hours? That was really fast turnaround for a leak that was not at all planned. But they had fun with it. They managed to get out shells to all kinds of media. So they had like shells of the Series S and the Series X, and they put it next to everything to show how large the X is compared to the S and vice versa. But the announcement gave us pricing: $499 for the X, $299 for the S. The S being the all digital version of it that's cut down a bit on the GPU, obviously, to meet that $300 price tag. And people seem really excited for the Series S. I think it's that price, but the idea of it having the same CPU, just a weaker GPU, and it targeting like 1080p or 1440p is pretty compelling to people at that pricing. November 10th. So that is a Tuesday. It's not even a Friday. And I was expecting a Friday. I almost thought it might be the 6th or the 13th, and they end up doing it on Tuesday. So what everyone thinks, specifically, it seems to be the S that everyone has the conversation around right now, because we've known about the X for a while. Technically, we've known about the S, but like now I have like the full spec sheets that they sent out for the S. So what's everyone think so far about what they've seen with these systems? They've shown some gameplay on the Series S right now. Gears 5 at 120 frames, which is pretty cool to see. Mm-hmm. But looking at this, Max, you said you were thinking about the Series S right now.
Yeah, I can definitely say I was wrong. In the past, I said that I thought that there'd be a lot of trouble selling. I straight up said that I picture some Xbox consoles sitting on shelves collecting dust this holiday. And when I see that price point, it's way lower than I thought. Honestly, the Series S, I think I'm going to buy the Series S. It's such a steal of a deal. $300. I don't have a lot of physical Xbox One games. Like it's such a good deal.
I mean, the big cutback, people are talking about like RAM and stuff. The big cutback, I would say, is probably the storage space at 512 gigabytes. That's the big one. Like people are saying, oh, the RAM is 10 gigabytes. The GPU, the CUs is cut more than in half, down to 20. The memory bandwidth is a bit slower. It's actually right about what the PS4 Pro is now that I'm looking at it. Yeah, it's PS4 Pro. But what's weird is they split it up, so it's 8 gigabytes at PS4 Pro speed, and then they have 2 gigabytes that's slower than the original Xbox One VCR that Nate still has hooked up for some reason.
Now, my first thought was that when it all leaked, I was thinking, man, MVG is going to say this is controlled. Because last time it was controlled.
For a minute there, I thought it was. But I quickly realized that there is no way that this was a control leak, dude. Mm-hmm. This was something, obviously, that they mitigated, and they did a great job, actually.
Post a meme, man.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, if it's control, they can just take it back. But go on.
Yeah, as far as I know, there was supposed to be a behind closed door event for press this past week, where they would watch those videos that. Yes. So, from my understanding, Walking Cat on Twitter.
What is this about? I've seen that this. They also tweeted out the entire commercial before it was supposed to go.
Yeah, well,
night.
Microsoft uploaded all this stuff to a server, but I mean, I don't know if it was unsecure, but he was able to grab everything. And then he gave some of it to Brad Sams, the promotional material, and Brad Sams decided to post it, and obviously that kind of started everything. And yeah, Microsoft didn't want to announce the Series S at 2:00 in the morning, I think it was.
Yeah, that was weird.
I think it was 11 p.m. because I almost immediately filmed a video, and it was 11 p.m. Central Time.
I just missed it. I was asleep when they announced it.
I had just woke up, and I was like, oh man, everything kicked off. But man, I think Phil even said in one of the videos that this was their worst kept secret in their portfolio. I mean, we've known about Series S for God knows how long.
He had it in his bookshelf behind him.
I love that.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. That was good.
It was really important to get it down to $299. Those were the 2 price points that I thought were the only realistic options for a 2 SKU launch, $499 and $299. The question now is, the problem is, man, like without Halo, like Microsoft doesn't have too much to launch with, but I think they rebounded nicely. Like it's coming out the day of Destiny 2. Destiny 2 is all in Game Pass. EA Play's all in Game Pass now. Assassin's Creed moved up their launch date, is now also going to have a 60 frames mode or option for the game, because people were worried about that originally. Remember, like people were like, "Oh, Assassin's Creed's not even going to run at 60 frames." So I think they rebounded nicely, and it's going to be interesting to see how people react to a $300 console day one next gen, because normally it takes years for a new console to reach that price point, and I know Microsoft is kind of thin on the exclusives department, at least until probably 2022. But a lot of people who only play Call of Duty or Fortnite or FIFA I don't think they really care too much about exclusivity, about exclusive games. They just care about playing the main games with their friends. So it's going to be interesting to see if Series S can kind of pull in a lot of gamers to next gen that normally would stay away for the first couple of years until the prices hit that kind of mass market price point. But I think they did a pretty good job. It looks weird. It looks like a speaker, right? Like that was my first thought, was like,
it looks like a speaker
thing. Am I the only one that likes the look of it? I think it looks cool.
It. I unironically
I'm into it, man. I'm into it.
It's so tiny. It's so cool.
It was very odd. I guess they didn't want the whole thing to just be like one color, I guess. And they were like, how can we just like add some kind of accent? And they just decided the whole grill will just be a different color. It does look like a speaker though. It's pretty funny. But I guess for special editions, they could do some stuff with it. So.
With Halo delayed, maybe they now can do a special edition of the Series S and X for whenever that game launches.
Hey, when
put Craig on the grill, like
Craig on the grill, if it didn't leak, the interesting part was I had heard that all this was supposed to be delivered on the 17th, so it would have been the day after Sony's. Well, I don't know what day Sony was going to go. They obviously chose Wednesday, but Microsoft, according to the original plan, they had the behind closed door stuff this week, and then they were supposed to reveal everything to the world on the 17th. But who knows if Microsoft has anything planned anymore? I think a lot of that was canceled because of the leak. But I mean, can you imagine having the PS5 reveal on the Wednesday and everyone being excited about what I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit about our predictions, and then the following day, here's Series S, here's Series X, here's the price points, release date, and pre-orders? It would have been a huge 48-hour period for the gaming industry.
There've been a lot of stuff happen. Hey, they could take the Series S and it has that. They could have like a special edition Gears of War one where the speaker grill is like the gear cog or something like that. That would make sense. They could do some stuff with that. There were some. I'm actually curious what your thought is on this MVG. There were some concerns that I saw from people about the amount of RAM in the Series S. I don't know if it's the speed or anything. And I'm looking at the memory, and I mean, I don't know if people like look at that and think because the Series X has 16 as opposed to 10, it's not supposed to be a 4K system. And like I know when because I play 1440p on my PC, I know it doesn't get anywhere near 8 gigabytes of video RAM being used.
Yep.
I'm not really sure, because if it's like a 1080p box or 1440p, I feel like what I'm seeing in there is perfectly fine for that. But there were concerns about it. I don't know if it's different pools of memory or what. Did you have any take on the RAM situation in the Series S at all?
Well, I mean, I agree with you. I don't think there's any cause for concern with 8 gigabytes of RAM on a machine that's targeting 1080 and 1440p. There may be the occasional game that upscales, to 4K, whatever, but I think 8 gig is plenty. But I will say that we can't really speculate on any of this stuff until we see next gen games, right? So right now we're just kind of throwing darts at a dartboard because we don't know, what that's going to look like. But looking at the specs, I think it's perfectly fine. 8 gigs is plenty of RAM. I mean, think of the Switch, right? That's got 4 gigabytes and that targets 720p, most of the time, right? Or 1080p when it's docked. I mean, 8 gigs is plenty, and I think it's going to be one of those things that is like really hot right now, but no one's going to even care about it when the thing comes out and people start playing games on it.
Yeah, because I assume the 2 gigabytes, that's pretty slow memory. That's probably where they saved a lot of the money. Obviously, is just the memory configuration. I assume that's just saved for OS and side tasks or something when you're using it. So that would make sense for that one. The good thing is, though, the big thing that surprised me is they have the same CPU essentially. It's clocked slightly different than the Series X, but it is the same CPU.
Which is great because that really makes developers not have to worry about. I mean, sure, you still have to worry about targeting two different systems, but because the CPUs are pretty much the same, you don't have to worry about timings and lower performance on this machine as compared to this machine. Generally speaking, things will run at the same level of performance, albeit at a different resolution. So I think Microsoft are really smart in providing the same, a very, very similar CPU across both, because I think that's a good move.
Okay. Is anyone concerned about the storage on this system?
I think that's probably my. I don't want to say I'm not concerned about any of this. I think for $299 it is priced appropriately and the features you get is good enough. I mean, I've heard people say, well, Call of Duty takes 300 gigabytes or something like that.
It's one thing of Call of Duty.
But didn't Microsoft tell us that they've got that smart delivery thing? So you're not going to be getting the 4K assets on the Series S version, technically, right? You're going to be getting the 1080p or the 1440p targeted version. So you're not going to get that full 300 gigabytes of game. You should be getting, a subsection of that, right? So I think I think it is a little bit of a concern. And there's that rumor that the storage is going to cost like $200 or something.
The memory card, there's a GameStop listing that shows $220 for that 1 terabyte card.
We're just speculating. So I mean, this thing has to come out and have at least 6 months on the shelves and in retail before we can start making.
The thing with the storage debate is, we'll say, Call of Duty takes up 100 plus. What's the big difference between 500 and 1 terabyte at that point? I mean, we're really just saying, it's double the game. So wow, now I get 2 Call of Duties. So it's going to be a problem no matter the SKU you choose. Memory is going to be a big issue for anyone going all digital this upcoming generation.
Especially with how patching works, because even if the game is 100 gigs, the way most of the programs work for patching is you have to download like 60 to 70 gigs before it then gets merged into the actual game. So
So I mean, it's not like it's not a problem just this specific model. It's going to be a problem for all of these systems. It may just be a little more apparent on the Series S, but I think that's where Microsoft is also going to hope to use xCloud. And if you have Game Pass, once you're done with the game, you're going to uninstall it and you're going to put on the new thing that you really want to play. And once that's out of the Game Pass library, you're uninstalling it. I mean, it's going to be the fridge that we complained about with the Wii or even the Switch.
I was going to say Switch,
I mean, it's going to be a problem for PS5 and both Series, Xbox platforms. Honestly, 1 terabyte simply isn't enough, but they can't give us 2 terabytes because these systems would cost, $600-700.
$600, in the sixes,
I think the bigger issue that has not been resolved is how are people expected to return and trade digital games? Because that's something that has to be figured out, right?
Hey, people gave Cooking Mama a bunch of flack. They were trying to figure it out, okay?
They're not.
There is no strategy. There's no decisions that have been made around that. So right now it's fine, but in a couple years when everything's going to be all digital, and trust me, everything will be all digital eventually. This has to be solved for.
No, but that's the point, though, MVG. The point is to move everything to digital so they can control everything. And that's the whole point. It's not, we're going to fix it later. It's they can do it now if they really wanted to, but they don't want to.
Everybody has to have their own copy of the game. There's no trading. There's no exchanging. You buy $60 for not even a physical piece.
Well, the issue they run into is they have to appease the retailers still, because that's where they sell their systems.
But here's what they're going to do. They're just going to put a download code in the box and then send it there. That's way cheaper because you don't have to print the physical disc. So that's all they're going to do. That appeases the retailers because they get the mindset of digital. And then, if I'm at the retail, there's a box there with it, and I don't have to print. The box isn't the most expensive thing. The shipping is expensive, but the printing of the physical discs are expensive. Because
dealing with returns on that are gonna be the worst. With the codes just completely scratched off, and they're like, I gotta return this. Like,
there will be no return if it's you can't return an open game right now. Even if it's new, you can't return a game physical.
You would be surprised at the people who will try and take up your entire day at that retail counter.
I'm sure you've had stories.
There was a survey by Xbox a few years ago actually getting people's opinions on digital download trade-ins, if you remember.
Yes.
The survey was basically saying, how would you feel if for a $60 game you wanted to trade in, you would get 10% of what you paid. So you would get $6 for it. Do you guys remember this at all?
Well, you know what's really funny? It was I mentioned Cooking Mama. The big thing apparently with that they tried to do was actually come up with their own blockchain and set it up so that each individual game had its own code so that it could actually track them. So there was a limited amount and they could tell a unique ID for each person and each copy that went out. Like through digital. That was the whole thing. And because remember that people were wondering if there was like some kind of crypto miner or something in there. That it was
actually fans were running super hot, right?
The game was just terribly optimized, but they were, that was the whole thing they were attempting to do was try to come up with their own blockchain setup. And there was a whole slide and stuff they had for investors, and it was this wild and crazy thing that people found out because they thought it was trying to mine cryptocurrency on their Switch and their PlayStation. Now I think that game's just rare or something, right? Because they basically just sold the game without being supposed to, and that's the whole thing. Long story short, I have a sealed copy on my shelf, but
you just gotta tuck that brag in there. Like, by the way, it's my retirement fund.
Hey, 10 of those Mario 3D All-Stars on the way, right?
I mean, I would love for them to do. I would love for them to do digital trade-ins, but I just kind of like they don't have to. I guess they don't have to allow it, and whatever price they would set is whatever they would set. Like there was that survey, like I said, it was 10%. So if you bought a $60 game like Marvel Avengers, which I played, which I didn't really like a lot of it, like it was okay, but like I'd get $6 back for a $60 purchase. But then they control the whole market. It's not like it's GameStop. So like, what would be a reasonable trade-in for a digital copy, considering digital is infinite? Like they can just generate a new code whenever they want. There's like what would be a good value for a game you buy at $60?
Well, that would be the problem. Like let's say it's $60. You have nothing to do for a month. You play that game 15 hours a day. Well, now you got 100 plus hours out of that game. You got the full experience. You loved it. Well, now you're going to trade it in. Let's say they give you $6. I paid $60 for it. I played it for 10 days. With kind of like, well, I really wish I didn't get this digital. I got the same $6. It sucks for me, but you have to come up with like a standard price.
Yeah. And you just got to suck it far.
It's difficult. And I don't think you can come up with a standard price for a digital trade-in per se, because I mean, you're going to come down to so many other factors. And at the end of the day, if you're just going to give me $6 for that $6, for $6 for $60, I'm going to say, screw it. I'll keep it.
Well, I mean, I think it'll be a whole system, like an economy that'll have to it'll be a commerce that we're going to have to figure out as time goes on, because we're not at that point where everything is digital. I think once we hit that point and then we start seeing hangups of things that aren't probably ideal and things that should change or things that people are going to get in trouble for that we might not even be able to fathom right now. I think that'll have to be something that we conquer in the future. But right now it's hard to imagine because we are still used to having the boxes, whether they actually have a disc, a cartridge, or even just a code inside.
Yeah, I mean, Steam hasn't even figured it out yet, so they're usually way ahead of everything.
A minimum amount of hours.
They already have the Steam Marketplace, and I think they were attempting to think of integrating that. The problem is, this is why, from my memory, that Blizzard stopped doing the real money auction house in Diablo was because of how taxation and stuff from selling things through the game with real world currency was causing issues. So
that's why most games make it illegal, such as WoW or RuneScape. They have to be really, really careful with it.
It's almost gambling at that point. Almost gambling, I would say.
Almost.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyone thinking about getting the Series S as their main system then, rather than the Series X, the Max?
Not as the main system, but I'll definitely get one and probably stick it somewhere in the house. I think the system's awesome. I love it. I mean, I think it definitely serves a really good purpose, and I'm all about the Series S. I'm definitely
getting one. Getting one. It's coming apart, obviously. That's actually the one that I'm actually really interested in right now, is how that went together well. But I think that might also be the one that a lot of people look at for Digital Foundry. I think that's going to be the most interesting one to see how it keeps up.
I mean, it's just so small. I'm going to buy one, and whenever my Sony friends come over, I'll just put it underneath the bed, and it's so tiny they won't even see it. It's perfect. Perfect.
Jordan, what do you think? You looking at either of these?
I mean, I definitely want the X. You know,
use an Xbox One X now.
I use the One X now, and it's really nice. And I have come. I still have problems with how the Xbox, you know, has their dashboards and certain things like that. But versus the PlayStation Pro, I think there's a lot of benefits it has. So I'm excited to see what the X is going to do. But I'm really surprised in a good way with how the S is shaping up, and I think that's going to be a big seller this season.
Yeah, I think the parents are really going to attach to that Series S, because especially if they say
$300 for next gen, like that's incredible.
You know what they should have done? They should have secured some sort of Fortnite marketing with it too. They should have like put Fortnite on the box or something with V-Bucks. I mean, like, there's a Fortnite box.
Oh god!
And the parents would have bought it and taken it home. But I mean, it's going to come with. I assume they'll do some sort of Game Pass promotion with it as well.
I'm sure. I mean, you get the feeling they just want these systems to come out. I mean, it's just been that kind of year. Let systems out, then go from there.
How do you guys feel like when the marketing starts? Do you guys think it'll say next gen Xbox starting at $24.99 a month? You think they'll do the Xbox all access pricing?
That's really attractive. Yeah.
Okay, so y'all know more about this. People have been emailing me, apparently claiming this is a scam or something. Where somebody did the math.
It's not a scam. It's just you probably shouldn't finance your console, like, based on like the way that it's going to do interest. You probably shouldn't. You should probably just save your money and buy it. Or if you are going to finance it, it shouldn't be because you don't have the money and like, oh my, this is the only option. It should just be because you want to build your credit. So that should be the only reason why, in my opinion, that you finance a console. You should not be doing like because you don't have the money, because if you can't pay 1 month or if something happens, there's going to be interest, there's going to be problems with it, and it's just going to jack stuff up. So I mean, as somebody who's went through a lot of credit card stuff, and now I'm really good on my credit, and I got a house and other stuff like that because of how important credit is, I would just don't buy it. Don't finance it just because you don't have the money. If you're going to finance it, just use to build your credit. That's it. If you're going to finance it,
did they say what the interest is going to be?
There is no interest.
There is no interest if you pay monthly.
Since you have to be online on it, I'm guessing at all times, they probably just shut off your ability to play games.
I think it's actually cheaper to finance it, isn't it? Isn't that the idea?
It's if you bought everything separately, so Series S is $300, 2 years of Game Pass Ultimate's $360, so that's $660. $24.99 a month for the console, $600. And then at the end of it, you would own the console, because it's not, you don't have to give it back, you own it. So you would save $60 on the transaction. I was actually thinking of buying the X outright and then using all access to get the Series S. Because I also want 2 years, because I think I had 3 years of Ultimate. Now I'm getting close to 2 years, and I would want the another 2 years of it.
Yeah, because Ultimate's $15 a month anyway. So like for an extra 10, basically you just get the S as well.
Rand, you've got like 1 million gamers. Don't they just ship them to your house?
Right?
It would be cool to get one. I'm not Spawnwave. I'm not going to get one for free. You know what I'm saying?
They're gonna send me one. Hold on a minute.
I mean, probably.
Used to us.
Hold on a minute.
I mean, it'd be cool to get one, but hey, I mean, I got a Battletoads box, so
I didn't get that. So sorry.
That's not,
I also talked a lot of trash about Battletoads, so that makes sense. Go ahead.
Here's the thing, though. I do like the option, though, like of giving people flexible ways to pay for it. Like I do like that, because they've done that before, right? They did it with the 360, with like the layaway program thingy, like Walmart. So they've done it before, and that helped out some people. So I do like that. I think it's cool, right? You guys say no interest on that. Just be careful with it, guys. Read the super small fine print, all right?
So, somebody tweeted out that since it's just a total payment plan, you could technically, if you wanted, pay double payments, and so pay it off in 1 year at $70 a month or something. I've heard, like, just so it's done quicker. It's one of those things where you can get forward if you want.
Is there not a catch, though, as someone who knows someone within like the like cell phone industry? Like a lot of brands, they're like, oh, just add this to your monthly payment, and the interest, it almost ends up being like anywhere from 120 to 150% over the price that you would normally pay for that product. So I mean,
I think it's like banks. I think it's like banks, where your bank account is free. Your bank account is free if you have money in it, and they make their money by you fucking up and overdrafting. It's the thing of this is a normal thing.
I think they just want an Xbox in your house.
Don't remind me. I'm having flashbacks, man.
The catch is the hope
about to have a heart attack.
The catch is the hope that you put Game Pass on your system. That's
exactly.
The catch. They just want that.
Yeah.
That's 100% what they want.
Because they figure you'll stick around for 2 years.
Wow, they're really pushing the service then.
Because it comes with 2 years of Game Pass, so they figure they'll give you the console, they'll give you Game Pass, and then you'll be so like, I'm not going to addicted. I don't want to use the word addicted, but you won't be able to like, I need Game Pass. So then you'll become a subscriber.
It'll be normalized for you. Kind of like the idea of people when you bought the old Xbox 360 hard drives and your Xbox 360 died, you wouldn't be like, oh, I got to go to a PlayStation. You'd be like, I have this hard drive. Let me just get another Xbox. Like it's just
it's like Netflix.
Thing.
You know, I don't watch Netflix. I should cancel it, but there's that one show, right, that just makes you want to continue.
Put it on the side screen, ambient noise while working. It's great.
Exactly.
Yep. But the one you do want to avoid is apparently GameStop's thinking about doing their own like finance program for both systems.
So is that on top of the existing Microsoft one, or are they basically just selling you the system? They're paying for it, and then they're basically putting
they have their own like companies that like they had a credit card. I remember this. They had like a credit card that they would try to sell you, and they have their own finance companies. And
so I think that would have an APR attached to it, right? And that would run a credit. That would run a credit check on you. Yeah.
Yep. What they'll probably do is try to just throw your holiday into like a bin basically, and you're like, we'll just put it all on the on layaway finance thing, and you take it home today or something.
Well, I was seeing people in chat saying that you have to do a credit check if you want to do the pay per month.
I mean, I would kind of
that's gonna hit your credit score either way. So as long as you're okay with getting a hit to your credit score, which is about 50 points for those of you who do not know, if you're okay with taking that hit, if you can afford that hit, I mean, do it per month. But
I assume that I assume your credit's gonna come into it, but it's
they have to. They can't just give you something that's $600 or $500 something and just give it to you and say, all right, here you go, take it easy. You've got to check. But anytime that you run your credit, like it automatically lowers it. Anytime that somebody runs it, so that's just got to keep that in mind, guys. With it.
Yeah, it'll be weird. It'll be interesting to see how many people go for the Xbox All Access stuff. See if that actually helps get it into people's houses. Evan, do we have a Discord question over there?
Well, since we were talking about pricing, now that we know the Xbox is going to offer a next-gen console for $300, do you think this might affect Sony's all-digital PS5 price, let alone the potential that the Switch might need to price cut itself?
No, because the Switch is its own thing. And, I'm not going to unplug the Xbox, take it outside. I mean, you could. It's just not going to work. But the PS5 all-digitals, that price has been decided well before the Series S, I would assume.
I don't think Sony was surprised by Series S. I mean, if we've known about it for a long time, I would imagine Sony has, and I'm sure they have ranges that they were willing to go. Like, okay, we built this system at this price point, and maybe we can cut 50 off here. Like, I don't think them pricing the Series S at $299 affected Sony in any significant, like, major way. I do think maybe they wanted Microsoft to price the Series X a little bit like more expensive, so then they can undercut that. But I don't think the Series S being $299 is what's going to lead the digital edition if it comes out to $399. That was a decision they had probably already made.
Yeah, the word is that Microsoft's losing money on both systems, but they're losing more on the Series S.
I'm going to amend $299 for that system. Yeah, they're probably losing quite a bit.
That's the word. The word's that they're losing more on that than they are the X.
I'm hearing people say that now that Sony should have like a $299 and $399, and that's absolutely
good luck with that.
That's absurd.
I have a theory that the PS5, like their regular PS5, might be as expensive or even a little more expensive than the Series X to produce.
Well,
I think that's very possible with the DualSense controller being put in there too.
There's a rumor going around.
It has to be $499. Has to be $499.
It's certainly a $499. We'll actually go into this PS5 showcase event now while we're at it. Then the PS5 showcase event this week. It's exciting stuff. Max is real excited over there. I know. That's the
Silent Hill, baby. Crossing my fingers. Silent Hill finally.
No Silent Hill.
It's finally time for Silent Hill.
There's no Silent Hill.
Bring that chestnut out. Dust it off.
No.
Finally, time for
you guys
Hill.
in this Silent Hill thing. The only Silent Hill is those pachinko machines and the slot machines over in Vegas right now.
I look forward to your face when you're wrong.
Somebody sent me a picture from Japan.
He's gonna get the judgment face.
That judgment face. Just chew that up.
One of my fans that lives in Japan sent me a picture of a pachinko parlor, which is like a really strangely well lit casino, and there were literally just like 80 Silent Hill machines, and every one had people sitting on it. It's like, oh, this is why there's not another game.
So it's Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. I think a lot of people are gonna be streaming it. I'm sure I'll be streaming it. I'm sure OJ will stream it. Max will stream it. Click, you want to stream it?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I don't know. Are you streaming at MVG?
Probably won't. I'm probably just going to sit there and watch it and just relax and enjoy it rather than try to deal with streaming and chat and all that sort of stuff.
So we're not going to see your expression when Silent Hill gets announced?
Oh, see, he just realized it.
Pull out the cell phone and record it for us and just drop it in the DMs.
If it drops, right? If it drops, I'll take a photo of my face and I'll post it on Twitter just for you, Rand. How's that?
I'm gonna use it for my clickbait. I'll put your face on my.
But if it doesn't, everyone, all you guys have to send me a photo of your disappointment expression face.
I will send you a tear. I'll actually put a physical tear in a bottle and mail it to you.
I don't care, actually. When Silent Hill comes on, and it'd be cool though to see it.
So it's so 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. PS5 showcase. This appears to be their last event or their last big push before it comes out, because the system comes out in like 2 months. So they really don't have a lot of time to do more events after that. What's everyone think's going to be here then? This should be it. They said worldwide studios as well as their partners and everything. So it's not just going to be first party, it's going to be third party, it's going to be all kinds of stuff.
I think the biggest and safest bet is Corey Balrog has been tweeting all day. I think that rumored God of War Ragnarok.
Do you think we close it out with that?
I think they may open with it. So he's done a series of tweets today, and they were all gifts that said revenge. So I think that it's going to start with Thor talking, because that was the hint at the end, is that Thor is going to try and hunt down Kratos for once. So I think it's going to be like Thor flying around.
So you think
I
they're
hope
opening
they pull a Last of Us and you only play as Thor going after Kratos?
You mother, don't you put that energy out there.
I hope everyone plays it and then you get the same reception. It splits the fan base.
Stop.
What are you guys talking about? This is going to be this show is not going to be anything like that. This is going to be, they're going to show the PS5. They may show us the UI. They'll talk about the price. They'll talk about the dates, right? So we'll get all that out of the way. They're going to show us what's going to launch. It's probably going to be Demon's Souls and Miles Morales, right? Ratchet's
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think Spider-Man's launching with the console. I think
they already said it was.
No, they haven't. All they said was holiday 2020. I think Spider-Man's launking in December. I think it's missing launch.
I'm almost positive they said Miles Morales is the launch title.
I think
They didn't say holiday.
I think it said holiday. Interesting. You think it's happening in December? Okay.
I think Max might be, if they do tease a new game from Sony's first party, it will be God of War 2, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
I would imagine this is also where Final Fantasy 16 exclusivity for PlayStation is going to be announced.
You think you think it's 1 year exclusivity? Like,
I think it's 1 year time.
You guys are getting way too hyped for this show.
I doubt it'll be here.
I'm just hey, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if Starfield showed up with the 1 year timed exclusivity for PlayStation.
Oh, if it was Starfield, that would be crazy.
There's another certain title.
Disappointment.
There's another certain title that has been snuffed for 2 different announcements that they keep pulling and not showing. I doubt it's going to be here now, but if it is, it's going to be electrifying.
You think they're saving that for next year?
At this point, I do feel that they're pulling it back and not announcing it yet. Even though the trailer is done and there are posters for this made, their whole advertising campaign is ready for this.
Why wouldn't they just do it now then?
Man, that's going to be pretty shocking if they do it.
Yeah, it would go down in infamy. It'd be crazy.
A good current, a very solid non-alternating current.
I do like the idea of Final Fantasy 16 though. I think that's a big announcement. If it's timed exclusive for a year.
Mm-hmm. Dude, there's been so many rumors actually recently about 16. It sounds like it's ready to talk
about. When would this come out then? Final Fantasy 16. If it still has a year exclusivity and it's not coming out for like a year and a half, that means it's hitting Xbox in like 3 years or something.
I'm gonna be a granddad by the time it comes out. Like I went from a freaking college student back to a freaking dad for Final Fantasy 15.
Well, Square's already working on that other game for the PS5 also, right?
Project Agna, whatever, whatever that thing is. Look, Final Fantasy. Me and Max are big Final Fantasy fans. And here's the thing, guys. Final Fantasy 16, if it was exclusive for a time, I know they did it with 7 Remake, but I would imagine it would cost Sony an arm and a leg for Final Fantasy 16 to be time exclusive. And yes, they make most of their sales on PlayStation, but at the same time, they still made a great amount on PC and on Xbox. It did sell millions. So it would be weird if they did, but if they're going to, that's fine. But man, I would like to know how much they actually paid.
There was word that
Yeah.
What's that, Jordan?
I was going to say one of Sony's biggest strategies for this next generation is they set aside a lot of money to work with a lot of third parties to get a lot of exclusives. Whether it's timed characters, whatever they wanted, they're paying a lot of money for the next gen.
That quote. The quote was they went shopping. That was the big leak quote that was going around. It's that they literally just went from studio to studio and said, "What exclusive can we buy from you?"
There was a rumor that we're talking like some crazy amount of money went for like a third party timed exclusive or exclusive. So that's why Final Fantasy 16 keeps coming up, because people are like, well, it's not. Remember Grand Theft Auto 6 came up and everyone just laughed. It was like, not Grand Theft Auto 6, but like Final Fantasy 16, we've already seen it happen with Final Fantasy 7 remake. So I mean, it could be. That's
nobody expected Sony to money hat Bethesda's 2 games, Deathloop and
that's a good point.
Ghostwire Tokyo, and they did. Mm-hmm. Final Fantasy 16 makes all the sense in the world to me to be exclusive to PlayStation for a year. I mean, why wouldn't Square Enix loves to do those type of deals for? I mean, they just did one for Avengers. They did it for Final Fantasy 7 remake. You essentially, I mean, if you're Sony or if you're Square Enix and Sony comes to you and be like, we'll give you X amount of dollars to be exclusive for a year, and you're still going to sell the same amount of copies no matter what, because that is where the majority of your Final Fantasy games are sold. Why wouldn't you take the money?
Yeah,
right. It's just business. And I, as to what Jordan said, like, I think one of the other things PlayStation's doing outside of shopping is like they're also trying to stifle Xbox's access to third-party games to put into Game Pass. So it's like Game Pass is great, and they got a bunch of games in here, but like, what if we just timed exclusive all the big games so they didn't hit Xbox, so you couldn't put them into Game Pass?
Yep.
So they kind of stifle it that way.
That's smart.
I mean, MVG says maybe we're overhyping this. I mean, I'm just throwing things out there. I don't think
Final Fantasy 16 is gonna
Silent
be
Hill, Final Fantasy, God of War. Are you guys kidding me? It's gonna be Ratchet, Miles Morales, Demon Souls.
Shigeru Miyamoto's going to come out on stage. He's going to come out and go, the true 3D collection is on PlayStation 5. If you want the actual HD Super Mario, you're going to get it on the PlayStation
and prices 5. And pre-orders, and let's go.
Okay, hold on. So
I agree with that. I think it's very late.
Oh, look at that. See, look at Nate. Nate's bringing the hype.
I do think they'll maybe there's a chance of 1, possibly 2 special announcements, right? I'll give it that buffer room. But I think this is very like, here's what you've seen with some actual dates. Here's the PlayStation business. 5 and when it's coming out.
This is not hype. This is business. This is taking care of business.
I mean, let's look at it this way. If we really want to focus on it in a market perspective, this is airing at like 5 a.m. in Japan. Where does Final Fantasy 16 going to be a big deal? Japan. Japan's audience isn't going to be watching this. This is a show that is being timed for Europe and America. What's good for the American and the European audience? God of War,
Final Fantasy
Western games. So it could be more of an American-based show where there's going to be pricing, release date.
I don't really think that necessarily like to time stuff really does matter to where it's catered to, because even if it is, let's say 5 a.m. in Japan, people are just going to wake up to that news anyway and see it. Like it's nothing like we're at a point where you don't really have to be here for these announcements. You just wake up and you get your information everywhere.
I mean, they revealed Xbox at 2 a.m.
Yeah, we got the Xbox at 2 in the morning, so I can't wait for the PlayStation 5 to be announced at, I don't know, like 2 p.m. on a...
I want to know who was the poor person that had to wake Phil up.
Oh, I know.
Let him know what was going on.
He's got like that red phone by his desk, by his bed. If anything goes wrong,
it happens.
It's leaks only. It's like
it's ringing. He's like, no.
They found out.
Phone call. Though.
Yeah.
He's like, what the hell do you want? It's freaking 2 a.m. He's like, Phil.
And his response was, launch the memes, and all the accounts just started putting meme photos up. Like, oops.
So what do we think on pricing then for the PS5?
500.
500
$499.
Yes. Okay.
$399.
The question now is I think everybody's like looking at the regular. It's like, yeah, it's 500. They're just going to match the Series X and move on. What about that all digital? You think it's I saw people saying 450.
I think it's 300.
$399.
I think it's $399. I think they're afraid of that Series S. 100%. I believe they're afraid of that Series S. So I think they're going to go $100 above it, but they don't want to go a penny more.
That's a serious cut for all you're taking out is the Blu-ray drive. $100 is a lot to cut off.
Is that a slap in the to the face of like physical owners, where you would say, okay, if you want the disc drive, give us $100 for a component that's $10. Like I know it's a great price, $399 for digital, but like anybody that's physical, that's a slap in the face, right?
That is a lot of money to cut off of it.
I think people want to be slapped in the face though with this. They kind of like want to be slapped more. Like it's like a weird thing, you know, like please.
Yeah, I love it.
I mean, sometimes consumers be doing stuff that they want to get bitch slapped. So
I just think Sony is going to push the digital thing. I think the physical PS5 eventually is not going to be the kind of the dominant product. I think the digital will ultimately end up being that, and I think this is their push to get there.
Well, I guess it really depends. Like, how many digital editions of the PS5 do they produce at $399? Maybe it's a limited amount, and the one that they want, they really want to sell is the $499 one.
Oh, what if the all digital one is their main system, and they're like, this is one we really want to sell, so that they do 400, and then the one with the disc drive is 450, and they undercut Microsoft by $50.
No way in hell, but damn it.
But your point about the DualSense is something that just makes me think there's no way they can go any cheaper than $5. You know,
That's the problem.
Wait,
I actually saw some PlayStation fans expecting the digital edition to be $299 and the regular PS5 to be $399. I'm like, you're crazy.
Wait, do you guys think that maybe Sony thought maybe we probably should have just had one model? Like, just not do this digital thing. Let's just do one model instead. Now that this is like $300 and I'm probably sure that, like Rand was saying, that they're not, you know, they didn't get caught off guard, but like, is there a point at this, like, not other than pushing digital, that's where you want people to buy stuff? Like,
that's the main thing. Yeah.
You know, like that's probably it. So, I mean, it's weird if you price it $100 less, obviously that's like, whoa, wait a minute, that much. But if you price it so close, it's like, what is it? I mean, for some people it matters, but it's just, it's just weird. So maybe do you think that they're just like, man, we should have just do one SKU. Let's just do
the only reason for that. The only reason for that all digital one that exists is so they can get to their magic number of $399. Like, otherwise there's no point. So it has to be $399.
They need another one on the market. If Xbox is going to be this aggressive with a secondary console being $300, even if they have to put out, you know, even if it's $100 more at $400 for their digital version, they have to put it out there. They have to have some sort of competition with that, because they know the PS5 is going to sell regardless of how much the Xbox is going to cost. But if they don't have another model of the PlayStation, then you're telling the person, hey, next generation right now it's either $500 or $300.
Yeah. But does it really do we get to the point though where price matters if they have all these exclusives and they have these time to, you know, people are just gonna be like, well,
I want to say no, it doesn't matter. I have my years of working at retail will tell me otherwise, because price will turn parents away, make them change their mind. Because for adults, it doesn't matter. If you're an adult, you're going to get what you want to get.
That's what I was getting at with the digital only, right? So like, you sell it at $399, Sony takes a loss on the system, no question about it. But if you end up selling that system to someone else, they have to rebuy the same games all over again, or they have to rebuy the game. So they're making their money on that console regardless if they sell it at a loss, no matter what.
Sony sees a higher cut anyway from digital than retail, so to them they're like, oh, we'll make it back in the long run, and they probably will if it's a 7-year system, for example.
They are thinking with the end game in mind. I mean, if digital is the future, again, you're not having to pay for all these moving parts of games going out anymore because it's all digital. Like FAG said, you're going to be making your money back on it. Again, there's no sharing, there's no trading, so it's one code per soul, which it's kind of sad to think about because I love sharing games. Like, hey, you want to try this game? Like, you know, and like that's fun, but I mean, they're gonna make a lot of money on these games.
Well, you can
in the long run.
You can game share on PlayStation, and you can game share on that. It's wonky.
You pay for their online stuff, right?
No, I don't think you just. I think it's based off of profile, maybe. But you can. There is game sharing. It's just really the way it's set up. I know there's game sharing too on Xbox, but it's really weird the way it's set up.
I've never even thought about using game share, to be honest.
Yeah, so I mean, there's ways to do it, but they probably have to clarify it a little bit better, especially with everything.
Hey, Nate, how's game sharing work?
I don't use game sharing on
what? Nobody uses game share? It's amazing. It's how I get every single game for half price. I get every. I have a buddy who will buy like say Valhalla, and then I'll buy the next one. It's every game for $30. It's amazing.
Oh.
I did that a little bit. Or what I would do is if I was dating a girl who wasn't a super hardcore gamer, I'd make her my game share person so she could download stuff on her PS4 and play it, you know.
It's really easy to do on Xbox. Like you just you log in as the other person, set the boxes to their home box, they log in as you, set their box to their, you know, the home box, and boom. Whatever games they buy, you both can play online. It's incredible. And whenever I do talk about it on my podcast, people are like, because I say I'm digital. Like I have over 2,500 games digitally on the Xbox, right? And people are like, well, how do you? I'm like, well, I get everything for half price, and they're like, well, how do you do that? I'm like, a game share. Like, what's game share? I'm like, how do you guys not know about this?
Yeah, I've never heard anybody really talk about it.
Yeah, a lot of the people on the podcast here will do physical buys for. We just talked about buying Shantae for the Switch physical.
I mean, my last physical game was Titanfall 1 for the Xbox One.
Okay.
My last physical was Last of Us. It's still in my PS4 because all my PS4 games are digital.
I mean,
so
Rand, we're working. Some of us are working on our GameCube and our original Xbox collection over here. Okay. Evan, we got a Discord question over there.
Since remakes and remasters are hot in the industry, if you were in charge of a studio, I'm guessing infinite budget, pick a game to do that to.
Prince of Persia Sands of Time. Oh wait, did we have to you say game or just say studio?
Damn, man.
Just say game or studio.
Just pick a game, I guess.
Prince of Persia Sands Time.
Skies Arcadia.
Chrono Trigger.
Infinite budget too. Wow, infinite budget Chrono Trigger be legit.
Oh my god, that'd be the
I don't think wait, infinite budget and infinite time.
Yeah, I don't need anything for the rest of my life. I'm good.
See that game in like 30 years once you're finished.
Chrono Trigger MMORPG.
I mean, I literally played that game for a decade back in the day. So. I mean, like, I'd be down for it. Let's do it.
I have one question about this PS5 event. I want to ask you guys.
Oh yeah.
Do you think they break down backwards compatibility in any way?
Yes, I think they will. I think what they're going to do is they're going to play a game that's kind of come out semi-recently, and it'll
Ghosts.
be. I think Ghost is the one to play. I think they'll load up Ghosts, and they'll be like, "Yo, look how fast!" Because that game already is really fast load time wise. Like you can jump around the map, and it's like load time's like a second or two most times if you've already loaded into the game. So it'll probably just be instant getting around, and they'll show off like some high frame rate mode, and then they'll talk about the enhancements, and then say, this many games. Maybe they'll put a collage up day one or something, and they'll move on. I think it'd be kind of quick.
Yeah, I agree.
Spider-Man again.
I mean, they don't have anything that compared to Xbox as far as backward compatibility, so they'll show some of the strengths of what they currently have. But yeah, I think it won't be more than a couple of minutes, and they'll move on.
Okay. Why do you think? Do you think they're going to take a different approach, Rand? Do you think they're going to go back to?
I was just curious because I know there was a lot of people upset about how Series S does the back compat when it doesn't run Xbox One X, enhanced games because it's a 10. And I think we got to move. I know Microsoft in their PR says the Series S is a 1440p console, but like in reality, it's a 1080p console. It's not 1440p.
I would say so. Yeah, I think it's a 1080p console as well. But
so I know a lot of people were upset that it wasn't going to run the back compat versions of the One X games, even though like they already showed Gears 5 running at 120 frames, which is something the One X couldn't do. Right. And Destiny 2 will probably run at 60 frames on the S, which the Xbox One X couldn't do. Right. Because a lot of people were flooding my mentions saying that like, oh, this next gen console can't even run last gen games great. Right. I know that's kind of like a meme about Series S. I'm just curious how a lot of those people will say when Sony's back compat is revealed and it's not
Doesn't
very
run
good.
Anything.
I think the reason that it's getting the One S games specifically is because of that memory configuration that we talked about earlier.
Well, yeah. I'm just curious, like, how many games are going to launch for the PS5 back compat, right? Like, is it going to be
with enhancements or without enhancements?
No, just in general. Like,
I think the number that they'll throw up is going to be in the thousands. Like, I think they'll throw up, but they're not all going to be tested or all. They're going to be like, you can put a disc in and we have gone back and we've done 100 or something like that and enhance them, and most of them are just going to be PlayStation games or close, like Bloodborne maybe, for example, but I don't think they're going to enhance a ton of them necessarily right away. Maybe they even go back and do some over time, or they just move on. I don't know. Jim Ryan's hard to judge on this situation.
Yeah, I mean, you did say nobody wants to play old games,
yeah, exactly, right? But how old are some PS4 games where we just played some this year, so that are like Ghost, for example.
Ghost would be amazing at 60 frames.
I wonder if they try to go higher than that. Try to go 120.
You know what would be really good too? An enhancement. Maybe we see this at the event. It could be Final Fantasy VII Remake enhanced.
That's a good one.
That'd be nice.
I think that might be more likely than maybe Final Fantasy 16. They just say, because like Square Enix, based off of their sales, they still are kind of like, they like the sales. They're okay with it. But I think they thought the game was going to sell a lot better than it did. Because it's about at 5 million with digital and with shipments, and and digital sales and everything, and that's great. But you would think at 100 million systems and Final Fantasy VII that it would do a lot better than that. So I'm thinking maybe they want to enhance, and they said they're going to continue to push Final Fantasy VII with the marketing and get people to buy it that haven't bought it yet. So I think maybe we get an enhancement of that and they show it off running on the PS5. That would be pretty cool. I think
if they don't, Microsoft probably will with the Xbox Series X launch for it next year when that 1 year limited is up. I bet you Microsoft will do something with that. We're like, oh, we'll enhance it, we'll do all this stuff. So if Sony doesn't, then I'm sure Microsoft, or they'll put it on PC and Evan will roll in with his 3080 and just be like 4K. 80 frames, whatever. It's cool.
And there's still gonna be those textures that look like they're on PS1.
I hope so.
And it gives them in there. It's nice.
Yeah, just keep them in there. The game's
retro.
The game's great, so just keep it in there.
Here's what we'll do to finish out the PS5 talk. We'll guess the date. Anybody have any idea when they think it's coming out?
The 17th.
When's Microsoft? November 20?
I'm going with November 10th. November 10th is Microsoft. I'm going November 20th.
November 20th was what I was going to say. Yep.
Yeah, I think
they're going to go after.
Oh yeah, yes. Yeah. I don't think they can go any earlier because if you go earlier, let's say I said Friday, like
earlier. It had to be. You can go the 3rd or the 6th, which would be a Tuesday or a Friday the week before.
That's really early. That's basically. The 3rd is basically October, right? So that's really early.
That's why I'm thinking November.
Well, yeah, but like it's like 4 days after October.
When's Thanksgiving this year? What?
It's the week after.
The
20th. I guess. If we're just doing Tuesdays, then the 17th. 20th is why I'm like somewhere right in there. I'm thinking so.
Yeah, I think it's around the 20th.
I was hoping. Friday the 13th is a good one.
Yeah,
nobody's gonna launch their console on Friday the 13th.
It sounds good. It sounds good.
That'll be fun. Evan, we got a Discord. Oh, go ahead, Miss Click.
No, I was just gonna say, would you ever have predicted to see Xbox tweet out a meme?
Yeah, sure. They had to.
So, 2020.
Yeah, well, it's also the thing of like all the brands try and breed people now. There's like videos about it, but like how all the brands now are like, hey, I'm just a guy. If you follow Fall Guys is like, hey, I'm some guy named Oliver. I'm Oliver, the meme person. It's like, you're a corporate employee. Like this is a marketing tactic.
Well, they hire social media people that literally like specialize in social media.
I know. Yeah,
I'm a social media person.
It is definitely people that it's like, I make these perfectly crafted consumable memes.
Let's move over to Discord question. I'm going to go to Super Chats after that, Evan, and then we'll go into the Switch and the new Hyrule Warriors game. Right. And then we'll finish up with Ubisoft Forward, which is, they showed Sam Fisher, so...
You got him, man.
That.
You got him.
Okay.
It's excellent. But we had a guy reminiscing about a time he went into a video game store and they had just received a 1990 Nintendo World Championship cartridge. So he's wondering what the rarest physical cartridge any of you have seen is.
The World Championship, because they had it at Too Many Games one year. It was behind glass, but you can walk up and look right at it. I guess that would be the rarest. I'm trying to think of the rarest that I would have actually picked up and been like, all right, this is a rare game. I shouldn't break it. But what about you, MVG? Because you have...
I've got some Neo Geo stuff, but nothing like a Nintendo World Championship.
Where did you get
cartridge.
that little... Hold on. Where did you get that little Samson card from?
Yeah, that's worth some money right there, OJ.
Right.
That little Samson.
I think I know where it's from.
Where did you get a little Samson?
I think I know exactly where it's from based on OJ's laugh. I know exactly where that came from.
Oh no!
Congrats!
I need some water.
I have nothing that compares to a Nintendo World Championship cartridge. That's some money right there.
Or a little
this is the super most valuable, but it's definitely probably my favorite single item in my collection, which is a complete in-box, perfect everything mint condition Final Fantasy. Which, no joke, I traded a copy of Call of Duty for this.
Wow.
Which Call of Duty?
Ghost.
Oh man! Oh,
okay,
wow.
But does anyone have?
Literally, I was at a swap meet. Oh, it's so funny.
Don't! You're gonna put up a Pokemon card.
Panty party.
There you go. Wait, I got my sealed little town hero. What's that worth?
Oh, nobody cares about that game.
You actually owe someone money for having that.
Yeah, someone to like break. If your house was broken into, they would leave that.
They would leave it. Yeah, that's fair.
They take it and then they take it and then they break back in your house to bring it back.
This game sucks.
They didn't even have to open the box to know it.
That game is really bad.
They patched it to like make battles not take 45 minutes for no reason
It
whatsoever.
did, dude. Some of those battles took forever. Oh, it was so
Spawn,
bad.
how dare you assume what I was going to show is just going to be Pokemon? It's not my only personality trait.
Pokemon cards are in the other room
as well, I guess.
It was either that or Spyro or Borderlands.
He's like, I got two traits.
This is why I stopped creating content online.
How many Pokemon cards are in the other room right now, Jordan?
Doesn't matter. And they're not even in the other room anymore. They're all behind me. I'm just blocking them right now.
That's not nice.
Pulling the suitor.
Let's
that's what I'm doing.
Let's go to some of the super chats here. Symphonic Balance says, well, I agree it makes sense from a plot viewpoint. I didn't expect Nintendo to continue the Hyrule Warriors brand. It's a nice surprise. Hope everyone gets their pre-orders next Friday for Mario 3D. Me too. I got mine in at Amazon before it went out of stock. So I'm gonna get it digitally anyway, though, and just leave that one sealed. Mitt says, would you rather Sony license Silent Hill or Metal Gear Solid from Konami? I'd rather Metal Gear Solid.
License it as in like turn it into games again or movies?
No, just pick would you rather Sony license Silent Hill or Metal Gear Solid from Konami? So pick one.
Yeah, pick one of the two for them to make.
I'm more into Silent Hill. I think Silent Hill has more unlimited potential. I think that the big problem with Metal Gear Solid is that it's just the stories of Snake, like all the different snakes. I like that every Silent Hill is kind of different. Just the town stays the same.
There's multiple snakes.
I know. There's twin of them, twin snakes.
Okay. The Waltman says normally
that's like a tough question though, because Silent Hill, a lot of the people who were on Team Silent went on to make Siren, who Sony has control of the team, whereas you make a Metal Gear Solid game that wouldn't be led by Kojima, and at that point, do you really want a Metal Gear game without Kojima's involvement?
I want Kojima to do whatever he wants at this point. Like, I don't think he needs to be tied down to Metal Gear anymore.
Right, but like, what developer would you assign to Metal Gear that you think could do right by the franchise?
I don't think there is.
Yeah, there's nobody.
Yeah,
so Metal Gear can't
most of them would just focus on the action. They wouldn't focus on like the meme nature of it, of focusing on.
What about Blue Point? You wouldn't trust them to do it?
Let's go back and remake the first one.
True.
Yeah, but then we're still like great. We're playing the original masterpiece.
Dude, I mean, come on. You've seen what that thing looks like on the PS1 right now. Like, they could do a lot going from the PS1 to the PS5.
Back to the NES.
Yeah, they could just HD twin snakes.
No. They got to go past that. They got to do more than that.
What about Remedy? Remedy could do it.
Oh my god, an Alan Wake crossover? Yeah, that'd be great. Metal Gear Ultimate Edition.
The Waltman says normally PS5 then Series S, but given our current situation, the Series S might sell better regardless of exclusives. And honestly, the US is not reopening until after the US elections are done. So because of the current economic situation, people are maybe more drawn to not only the cheaper one, but the one you can get for $25 at checkout and then each month. So, I mean, it is an advantage for Microsoft to put that out there at $25 a month.
I have seen people say that they're like multiple people, like just random subscribers have told me that they plan on getting the S and playing that for the first year. And once they feel like the PlayStation 5 has a big catalog of exclusives, then they're going to jump straight to the PS5 then.
It's not a bad idea. Volu says when Misclick said keep dreaming as Dreamcast guy got wrongfully ejected from the ship and Among Us had me rolling.
I was so mad because she said it just the way I did it. Like I was innocent. Everybody unanimously voted that I was the monster and shot me out of the ship. And right as I'm flying out into space, she goes, keep dreaming.
That was great. It was perfect. Everyone was quiet when it happened. Too.
I was
just shot out into space.
Damn, the disrespect.
It was good. If I need to go back. If that VOD is still up on, I don't know if that's up on Wood's channel or his Twitch. I have to go find that because that would be awesome.
I'm gonna clip that and put it on like Twitter, and then it's just be taking my headphones off and walking out. Like I'm done.
We need to. Somebody needs to. We got to find that VOD and get that one.
Sorry.
That was good though.
Toxic.
That was perfect timing. Like I said, everyone got really quiet and
everybody's like, "Oh no."
We ejected an innocent man out into space.
It's okay.
Oh god.
Console Gamer says would like to see more of the Spawn Wave crew play Fall Guys and or Among Us. Need to get Evan and OJ in there. Also need that movie wave to be a thing. We do need to play more Among Us. Was surprisingly fun. So.
It's so good. Like it's weird that a game where you have to not talk for so much of the gameplay is actually such a good social game.
Yeah.
It's the way I described it to a friend of mine. I said it's like if you took a board game like a Clue, right, and you tried to turn that into some sort of like a video game. You tried to take the same elements and make it that way. And the fact you don't talk to each other, and then you only come to discuss either defend yourself, call someone else out, or just see what everyone else. It's so interesting. It sounds like when you look at it, you're like, how could this be fun? And then when you're with a group of people playing it, it is so much fun for such a simple idea. It is such a good time.
I will say the dynamic does change. I feel like we were pretty, even though we kept killing Max, I feel like we were pretty reasonable. We were pretty reasonable. I played with a group last night, and this was like kind of the first time all playing together, and it was a mess, dude. They were like calling each other out, like people were just super paranoid of each other. Like I feel like we played pretty reasonable, and it was really fun. But last night I started getting a headache. I was like, nah, man. I was like, every group handles the game differently because some people just handle conflict or paranoia completely different than someone else.
I do love all the memes.
I think we'll try playing it again next week or something.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be good. Then we have Humdrum says rip Xbox division next week. Sony will stomp, and they say Sony gets too much flack. Stop defending Xbox, and then it cuts off at Nintendo. I think they're trying to say Nintendo. I'll just fill in the blank there. Nintendo. It just says Nintendo.
Oh, okay.
Lopez says, could the next Switch be a phone?
Sure.
Hey, you know what? Nintendo should make a phone. Why not?
Call it the Switch gauge.
Sure. Okay, there we go.
People post that picture. There was an actual photo released by Nokia where they're like, you can use the Engage as a phone, and there's a picture of this executive holding what it looks like a phone basically sideways on his head. It's the dumbest looking.
They've already got the voice chat app, so they just build a phone around that, and they'll be good.
Yeah, you need a separate phone.
They need a messaging system
double
first.
Phone.
There was that patent that Nintendo had way back in the day that showed a phone with Yoshi on it. So never know. They could make what would they even call it? Just the Nintendo phone? I don't know.
Nintendo phone.
Matt says, so I'm calling it PS5 digital is 400. Hard drive. I'm assuming they mean the disc drive version will be $499. What do you guys all think? I think of it's $599. That will give Xbox the edge. I don't think there's any way Sony's going to get near a $600 price after what happened with the PS3. That was pretty ugly. Lycon says the Series S biggest issue aside from storage is a lack of plus slow speed of memory. It doesn't even play backwards compatible in 4K. We just talked about that, right, Rand?
Yeah.
It's not targeting 4K.
None of those things can be determined right now. Sorry, but you got to wait for the system to come out.
Okay. RDX says PS5 doesn't have RDNA 2 or machine learning. PS5 is holding back Series S and X. PS5 is RDNA 2 as well. They both are. Both systems. Tesla Volta Games says the solution to all digital consoles are streaming services. Here's a question. What do you think of a retro game streaming service? Back end being emulators and licensing ROMs from companies. I feel like that'd be kind of expensive.
Sounds like the Polymega. It's already out there.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. This is a retro game streaming service. So like you would stream the games over the internet.
Sega Channel.
Oh yeah. That was ahead of its time.
They've done that before, right? Isn't it like online?
I feel like that has happened before. On Live tried it with like current games, and it didn't work out great. Like a subscription service, that was basically a Sega Channel. You're right.
It would just be hard with all the licensing for like look at all the NES games that they wouldn't be able to get.
Well, and the delivery process. I think that part of the reason that all these collections sell so well, like the Spyro and Crash collections sold crazy, and it's not just that they're good games, it's that they were so contained. I feel like a subscription service, it doesn't have that hype around it, even if it is a good product.
It's hard licensing some of these games. I mean, look at what happened with Sony and its PlayStation 1 Digital and like that lineup. They had a hard time licensing some games for it. So
it's just weird we're at the part of subscription services where they used to kind of be exciting, like, wow, everything's going to be all in one place for such a good price. And now every time it's like, another streaming service, another subscription.
The boys, Amazon. No.
Well, luckily, most people just have Amazon.
Yeah, that's part of Prime.
So it just comes with it, which is nice. Yeah. But like, there's HBO now, and everyone
You're basically paying for how much cable was.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If not more at this point.
Evan says they want to cut out retailers and go direct sales. The bigger issue is universal access to high-speed internet. Internet needs to be a utility like electricity or water and not seen as a luxury. The Real Hunter says they won't fix trade-in issue, no profit, i.e. GameStop. Rumo says stuck in washer. Mr. Pete says stuck in washer, stepbro Cummings send help.
Wait, what?
Did I miss something with that, Jordan?
If you don't get it, you don't get it. Just keep going on. Oh, that's great. I hope someone in the chat has to understand that. That is great. That is fantastic. Thank you for reading that.
Is that something that proves that me and everyone else who didn't laugh is just old?
It just proves that you may be a little out of touch than you think.
I'm 34.
That's a pretty big. That's a pretty big meme.
I know I'm out of touch.
That's a pretty big meme online for a while now. I don't.
Wait, anyway. What was it?
Let me see if I can find it. You said stuck in a washer?
Oh my gosh.
OJ don't.
Oh, the step one. Yeah, okay. No, I saw that. Yeah.
I'm going to.
Right.
Y'all weird. Quit it. You need to spend some time outside and off the internet.
Right. That's going to happen.
Mr. Pete said, I have cash set aside for the consoles. I'll use my credit card, then pay it off to get the points. I love Dreamcast guy.
Thank you. Oh, that was a good into that super chat. Appreciate it.
Tesla Volta Game says, as a Dave Ramsey fan, I shudder at the thought of financing a console. It is never cheap or long term to finance. Just ask every car and phone company. Kick says, we got 4K on everything: phones, tablets, consoles, TVs, computers. So when will Nintendo release a 4K system? Switch? What's so hard about it? Hey, might be soon, apparently, according to Bloomberg, apparently. And then we have Airmaster, no messages. Then we have RDX says all access has no interest. That's right, Rand. You filled us in on that. Chris with a super chat, no message. And then we have Moon says, oh, I donated $1 for you to hit the toaster with the hammer a long time ago. Can we do that again sometime? I think I see a new dev kit on the horizon, Nintendo Pro. Kelvin Smith says, is Spider-Man going to be exclusive on Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 for PS4 since he was on the PS1 version of Pro Skater 2? You know, I'm actually mildly surprised Sony didn't look into that, but Sokar says, Sony, how much can we afford to not pay ourselves from Blu-ray licensing? Yeah. Supa says, everyone seems to be forgetting Sony is going into this gen way ahead. They could just launch and release a 1440p PS5 next year if needed. Skylar says, how will mid-gen refresh work with the Series S? Can they go even even cheaper and smaller? Could go smaller. You can always revise and make it even smaller. Like it'll get to the point where it's like this little box that goes on your.
I also think one of the reasons Series S exists is because I don't think we're going to see a lot of price cuts on Series X a lot during this generation. Like that is an expensive system that Microsoft has taken probably a decent loss on. So that system's going to be $499 for quite some time. Yeah. So it's smart of them to get Series S out there to hit that $300 price point right away. So I don't expect a lot of price cuts this gen.
Yeah, they'll end up breaking even on the Series S over time faster than they will the Series X, just because over time that chip will get cheaper to create and all of that. So as opposed to the Series X. Cyber Knight says, do you think Sony could reboot Sly Cooper on PS5? I'd like to think they will, but that would make me happy, so probably not.
I don't know about a reboot if that comes back. I think they may just make another one.
I would be okay with that. Like just like a new one? Just brand new?
Just brand new one.
Okay with that. Evan, we got a Discord question before we move over to Hyrule Warriors.
Let's go with this one specifically for OJ. We have someone asking if Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is worthwhile for someone who is fundamentally at odds with the FGC. I'm guessing he's talking about hating kind of the hyper-competitive, toxic stuff. He's just looking for something casual in terms of fighting games, is my guess.
Yeah, Smash Brothers is great for it because it doesn't have complex inputs. There is a whole community outside of crazy Smash people. There is a whole community that just like to play the games, So if you're just interested in like the roster and playing and going online and playing casual, there's a bunch of people that have no idea about the other stuff. You have to remember, Smash Brothers, the hardcore competitive Smash Brothers community, is a minuscule portion of everybody who plays Smash. Most people who play Smash Brothers are casual players who don't give a crap. The people that are really good and really skilled are a very, very small amount. That's why the same people were winning tournaments every single time. There's not a bunch of other people that win tournaments. It's a very small, select group of people that are even good enough to win a tournament. They have great numbers, But Smash Brothers has sold 20 million. You know what I'm saying? And there's not anywhere near 20 million people that are even competitive or even good enough to fight against MKLeo or some of the other guys. So you can pick it up and just have fun and just play against people online and throw items and do all the other stuff. You don't have to be hyper competitive. It is not that type of game because there is other elements as well. So no, don't worry about it. Just go online and play. Trust me, you're going to meet people that you're going to play against people that have no idea and don't care about the competitive arena.
Okay. Let's move over to Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity and our 4K Switch, apparently. And that according to Bloomberg, is still happening next year. They just wanted to let us know again. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is coming out November 20th, and it's going to take place 100 years before Breath of the Wild during the Great Calamity. It's going to be a warrior-style game, though. Interesting. That is an interesting way to go about that, but it kind of makes sense because of what the Great Calamity is, or it's big battles and war and all of this going on. So, you know what? I'm on board with this one. I'm not usually a huge fan. The only real Warriors game that really pulled me in, I actually liked Hyrule Warriors. I thought that was a really fun game.
Mm-hmm. It was fun.
But this one looks like it's going to take more of a shift into storytelling compared to what we had with Hyrule Warriors. That's going to be more canon. So like I like the idea of trying to tell the story of the Great Calamity and set everything up for Breath of the Wild 2. But Nintendo announced it, and then 2 months later it's coming out in November, and I think that for the most part, I would say cements their holiday, but I guess you never know with Nintendo and their third and any other partners that could be announcing. But what do you guys think of the announcement for the Age of Calamity?
Excellent.
Super shocked.
Thumbs up.
I ended up watching the reveal on a little stream that morning because I just wanted to see it live. I'm super blown away. Honestly, never saw it coming, and it looks really good.
I think it's really cool, honestly. I like the way to story tell this event that we know of and we know the results of, but to finally see a lot of these characters in action and to kind of see some characters we haven't seen before, like that new little egg version of whatever that is. But I also feel that this is also going to have a good build up to whatever 2 is going to be. Whatever the story is in 2, I think either a character or a story point is going to lead into that we don't know that happened throughout Breath of the Wild. So
this should be
I think it's a really unique way to do it.
This should be a really dark story then.
This game is
we know the ending
sad.
Kind of already.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jordan, you just made me think, what if this sets up the power of Zelda really hardcore? Because we haven't seen like her do that battle, but clearly she was strong enough to survive a fight for 100 years against Ganon or whatever. What if they're setting it up because Breath of the Wild 2, the dumb rumor that's going around is that it's co-op or 2-player where Zelda and Link both like fight through some sort of thing?
I wouldn't mind that.
Age of Calamity, maybe setting that up.
Yeah.
I just think it's cool that this is not only like a prequel to that, and it's going to start connecting this stuff. But the fact that they chose to make it a Warriors game, I think, is smart, because while the combat in Breath of the Wild is still fun, you can't use that combat to take on 100 bokoblins at once. You would constantly be dying, unless you're one of those like skilled players you see on Twitter who make those like crazy like kill things where they send something up in the air and do crazy stuff, which is impressive. But I don't know, I think it's really cool. Kind of came out of nowhere. I don't think anyone was expecting a Zelda this year when next year is the anniversary. So
What'd you think, Miss Click?
She has a video.
Keep it short. I think that this is probably, and OJ had mentioned it too, we had talked about a long time ago wanting the champions in Smash because they could have really cool kits, especially with their specific abilities that Link can acquire. But this to me, and I was just talking about how I had been so tempted to rebuy Hyrule Warriors on Switch. I have like 1,000, 2,000 hours on Wii U. I loved it to death. It was a lot of fun. I hadn't played a Warriors game before, and though I will say it was pretty quirky and cringy, it was great. Like the main draw of that game was getting to play as characters you were never going to get to play as, and getting to see how their kits were. Like when they added in Twilight Midna for Hyrule Warriors, or Link riding on Epona and Epona's like kicking baddies in the face, like it was so cool. But what's going to be the main awesome part about this one is the fact that they're working so close with the Zelda team. It is the same engine. It is like when I finally, like, I was so busy watching it, I thought it was just cutscenes of Breath of the Wild, and then they were going to show us the Hyrule Warriors engine. And then when I realized, like, no, they were legitimately using Breath of the Wild engine for this game, this is going to be so lore heavy, and it's the first Zelda game that we actually fully get to see a battle. It's not just a prologue, it's not just a painting.
Good point.
Or the aftermath.
When the cannons, when they do like the panning of the cannons going off and the king like talking to the army. That is such a big deal for Zelda because I think when Twilight Princess came out, I was like, how cool would this be if you had this giant, vast open world and you got to like run alongside or even in cutscenes see the army going out, and you just never got that chance. So I'm very excited for this. It's going to be very sad, very depressing. But the fact that Aonuma-san actually stood up there and talked about it really gives me faith that this is going to be beyond the cuteness that was kind of Hyrule Warriors 1. And this is going to be something that I think a lot of people will end up having fun with. And I'm really curious to see all the kits they have for the champions in their full glory, because like they're going to be OP, and it's so cool because you're going to get to see
you get to play Urbosa. That's
dude,
that's
and
all
she's
I
fighting
need.
Yiga. Like how cool is that?
You get
dude?
to play Urbosa. She's the dopest champion.
And
okay?
Mipha, sweet precious baby
she's
Mipha.
the dopest champion. And you know what? The thing about it is like we've had this before, right? Like in terms of you already know what's going to happen, but it's still it's super fun to set up and play. Like Xenoblade Chronicles: Torna of the Golden Country was the same way. You know what happens, everything goes to hell, but you want to see what happens to Pyra and Mithra or why that even happens. And that game was awesome. So I actually like when they do stuff like this. You know you're going to lose, but how do you actually lose? You know, like
Fall of Reach.
You know, like
people are already making that meme where it says
like
just keep fighting.
They wouldn't.
You just keep. You fought to the end in Torna too.
But I do believe.
Very damn it.
I do believe the theory though that they wouldn't be putting as much emphasis on this foreshadowing, unless there was some context we need to see in order to make sense of Breath of the Wild 2. I genuinely think with Zelda, like we get to see the moment, like we only get a brief cutscene of her finally going up to Ganon, and then like he like charges at her, and that's it, and then we don't see her till after. We finally get to see the moment, like when that happens. And I genuinely think there's going to be some stuff there, to where it's going to kind of lead on to her experience that she had to go through, like leading up. Like we didn't even, like we saw her go to the Deku Tree. We didn't see her traveling with the Master Sword or anything. Like even just that by herself could be like a whole story. But I feel like there's going to be a lot of context that's going to give us more depth to her, because we did not get to know her very well outside of past Zelda. Like we don't know current Zelda and what she had to go through during that certain time. So I'm really excited. If Link and Zelda are going to be a main thing in Breath of the Wild 2, unless she gets taken right at the beginning, I mean, I think it's going to set it up really nicely and give us some more context.
So you're saying this is going to be the Metal Gear Solid 3 of Zelda, so it's going to be the prequel that makes the sequel better.
So I got a question. This Hyrule Warriors game is basically a Dynasty Warriors game with like the Breath of the Wild skin.
Yep.
So aren't these games usually trash? Or
they're different. I will say that looking around online, there is a lot of, it's so different that it's a different style of taste. It's a different style of adventure.
It's a hack and slash.
A lot of the dungeons, I'm sure since you have like over 1,000 hours in a click, you can attest to this. Each of the levels is like 45 minutes a lot of times because you are running in circles and shit.
It depends. Like that's a game that you don't necessarily play for its big complexity. Like what you're playing for that game is for ratings. Like you're going to get the best. You're trying to do it the fastest time, deal the most amount of damage without taking a lot of damage. You're trying to kill the most amount of enemies possible so you can get that A or that gold or platinum.
So you're more excited about the story possibilities.
This is going to be this is lore
possibility. Okay.
Yeah, like Zelda community that's really big on timeline, lore placement, wondering
they freaked
what
out
happened.
that morning,
yeah, that's the major thing is like we're going to get to see like even young Impa. Like we see her like kneeling. I don't think it's Pyrrha, but it's kneeling next to Link in the castle. We haven't got to see what she looks like, and that was one of the biggest bothers to me is seeing all the flashbacks and never seeing Impa when she was younger once.
So in Breath of the Wild, Rand, there's they allude to a lot of things that happened during what this game is basically going to cover completely. So people are really excited and it's basically a massive event that sets up Breath of the Wild, but it's going to have an unpleasant ending, we'll say.
Everybody dies.
I have Breath of the Wild. I just haven't played it, but maybe I should wait for that 4K Switch, huh?
Oh, there you go. See,
I will say that the reason that the first Hyrule Warriors game was interesting is that it was the first time that they really just shoved all the Zelda timelines into one big ball. Yeah. So you actually saw like Zeldas from different timelines and Links from different timelines, and that's all going against each other, and then seeing enemies from different timelines. And even though it wasn't canon, there is even Linkle, a female Link that believes she's the hero of time, even though the hero of time is still alive, so it's not possible. Like, it is so cool. And I honestly think this is going to mostly be that. I think it's going to be mostly, here's all the things that you couldn't see before but are important.
Another thing though, Rand, it's like, it's not that the games are bad, just some people get that it's like repetitive. That's the main problem. That like the controls are good, the combat's fun, there's hella stuff to do, there's a weapon fusion, there's like there's levels, there's all sorts of cool stuff in the game. The problem that people find is that sometimes it just becomes a bit of a grind, just constantly doing stuff over.
And that's when it comes back to is with each different quest you play a different like if you want to do the same quest over, you play a certain character with a certain weapon this one time, and then the next time you play the same character, different weapon, or you go to a different character with a totally different kit. And so you're playing as characters that you would never get a chance to, and it's really cool because they characterize it to, you know, like I laughed so hard. Again, I'll go back to Twilight Midna, where she's in her beautiful, you know, like human form or whatever, and she freaking takes the bridge leading to Kokiri Village, and she's smacking people with the bridge that she makes disappear in Twilight Princess. And if you don't play Twilight Princess, you're kind of like, why is she hitting people with a piece of bridge? But if you play Twilight Princess, you're laughing because it's like she made it disappear and she didn't even know where she sent it to, so you have to go find it, and here she is, like in the game, smacking people with it.
I'm
it's just great.
Rand, you haven't felt the pull to try out Breath of the Wild or play it?
I mean,
it is one of the better looking games on the Switch in general, like in terms of like
I don't want people to hate me more than they already do when it comes to Nintendo.
They're gonna
right?
hate you regardless.
So, I've only ever played 2 Zelda games, the original and the Wind Waker.
Okay.
Because I didn't own the SNES because my parents got me a Genesis, right? So I didn't have a Super Nintendo. And I didn't have an N64 because I had a PlayStation 1. And the only games I played on the 64, because my buddy owned it, was like WWE No Mercy and WCW versus NWO Revenge and stuff like that. So I don't really have the love or the background of like Zelda. So like I look at Breath of the Wild, and while it looks incredible, like I like the graphical style, it doesn't pull me in because I don't know anything about the world.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. You could actually jump into that because that plays different than any other Zelda game.
It plays different,
way different than any of them.
We were literally just talking about the fact with Zelda is outside of Breath of the Wild and I think maybe Wind Waker timeline, you can play any Zelda game and not have to have context to any other Zeldas. It's not like a Kingdom Hearts where you have to play them in order and you have to play them on either where they launched or in the special editions. Otherwise, none of it's going to make sense.
It still doesn't make sense, but go on.
Yeah, I agree. It's Kingdom Hearts complicated. But the cool thing is you can play whatever game you want, and then if you choose to play the different games later on, then you can kind of puzzle piece aspects together and read up on it. It's fun. It's like it's a puzzle that still has pieces missing, and I don't even think they intended for it to be a puzzle, but now that they realize that so many people want it to be a puzzle, they're making games to fill in those pieces, if that makes sense. So it's really smart they did the trilogy.
Like Breath of the Wild, it's like, to be honest, people say that it's not like a Zelda game. It actually is. It's actually based off of Zelda 1. The original Zelda was not about elaborate, crazy dungeons and get this. The original Zelda, they just plopped you in somewhere and you just ran around and you just figured things out. And that's how Breath of the Wild is. It's even like the title screen, and even like when you first go into it, it's just like the original Legend of Zelda, where if you look at the manual, he's looking outside of like the kingdom and everything like that, and there's this big old huge world, and that's kind of how like the exploration of just finding stuff on your own. That's like the whole theme of the game. It's just like you kind of just
like
go wherever. Yeah, you just gotta go do whatever you want, Whereas I think that the other Zelda games would probably be a little bit more like, you probably might not like those even more because they have like really like weird like Zelda traditions from Ocarina of Time and up in terms of getting a certain weapon, fighting a certain like boss that has this, going here in this order. It's kind of, they try to make it seem as if it's like open, you can do a bunch of stuff like whenever you want, but that's not the case. You gotta fight certain things in an order, So,
right. No, I mean I own the game and I always planned on playing it at some point. I'm much more interested in Metroid. Like I love Metroid, the Metroid Prime trilogy, And when that was when Metroid Prime 4 was announced for the Switch, that was like one of the reasons I was like, oh, I gotta get the Switch because I love Metroid. But I mean, it was just a JPEG, and what was that, like 4 years ago now? It's like 3 years ago now.
Things are going well.
Like, oh man, you gotta get my Metroid.
You got JPEG baited, dude.
Yeah, I did.
If you stream it sometimes, I'll just say, if you stream it sometimes, you could totally clickbait the title and be like, Zelda Virgin plays Breath of the Wild for the first time.
You can get so many views. I don't like Zelda. I've never played it, but I'm playing it for the first time. You'll just see people rushing in there to watch you and like make fun of you.
Yeah.
Nate, what's the one Zelda game he should play though?
Everyone should play Link to the Past.
That is right. Thank you.
Is that the one that was just on the Switch, like the remake?
No, it's NES Awakening.
That's Link's Awakening.
It's from the Super Nintendo, Rand. That's the one. That's the system you said you didn't have, but it's on the Nintendo Online service.
That's my gaming shame, man. I have never played an SNES game, not a single one. I've been on the system. I didn't play anything on it.
But at least you're brave enough to admit it. Like I didn't grow up with an Xbox. I've literally never owned an Xbox. So it's like,
but you say that in the gaming community. Look at Max right now. He's like, what? How do you not
owning a Super Look, my name is Dreamcast Guy. It's printed on my hat, and even I had a Super Nintendo.
I mean, my parents bought me and my brother a Genesis. I mean, what can I say?
Super Metroid, my man. You like Metroid? I mean, Metroid Prime is different, but Super Metroid, you should check.
I actually never played Super Metroid. I played the original.
You said you never played a single Metroid game, or never played a single.
Those are all games on that Super Nintendo app too on the Switch. Like they're all there's like a bunch of Super Nintendo games on there that have actually aged pretty well.
Maybe Rand, you should just do the streaming thing and be like.
I would watch the hell.
The funny thing is, most of the Super Nintendo games are you can beat them in a lot of them in one sitting.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Not Link to the Past. That's multiple scenes probably, but like there are a lot of ones on there you can beat in a couple of hours.
Rand would rage quit Link to the Past.
Oh,
that's content.
He's gonna rage quit that crap, dude.
I almost rage quit Pokemon, man. Like, but that was for charity. I had to keep on playing it.
You beat Pokemon? Which one? Sword or Shield?
The one. Sword or whichever one I bought.
Oh,
Sword.
you're ready for Link to the Past. You're good.
I wanted to quit that game so much though, but it was for charity.
I know,
now they're trying to get me to play Animal Crossing now, and I am not playing Animal Crossing.
Rand played Animal Crossing. Heck
no, not happening.
You can set your room up with all Xbox stuff.
Do you not like smiling? Is that like a rule of yours to not enjoy things?
You probably would find that game to get very like as you go.
So Evan, we got another Discord question.
Got two left. We got one about the Ubisoft stuff, but we'll go with.
We're about to go in the Ubisoft right after that, so we can start that next topic off with that question.
We can knock these two out then. Were you able to leave your regular jobs and fully work at YouTube? This is for anyone here.
I do. I go to YouTube. I thought YouTube comes to your place to film. I'm just kidding.
Basically, just wondering if you're full time on whatever content creation, YouTube, Twitch, etc. And if not, is the whatever job you're doing video game related? I think everyone here except MV.
I am full time, and then before that, I worked at a video game store. So yes, even before that, I was doing video game stuff.
I did 10 years at a bookstore, and I quit there in 2016 to do YouTube full time.
Yeah, I worked IT jobs for many years, and I didn't quit to do YouTube full time, but I work in game development industry and do YouTube as well.
That's right. Just ship the game.
Shante.
I just got fired, and I decided to do this full time.
There we go.
I was making full time money though. At the time, that's
a leap of faith.
I just tripped, fell into it. I had saved up a bit though from working. I did kinesiology and communication, so I was doing health coaching jobs and like stuff like that. So I had saved up, so I had some reserve just in case because I was paying mortgage and stuff. But just decided, hey, let's just, instead of looking for another job, let me just try this because I already had some subscribers and stuff. So it just ended up working out.
Okay. Very good.
Yep. Do everything full time. But I will say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's dangerous game. Yeah.
That's why I started OnlyFans. This is my OnlyFans announcement. It's great. It's just for me. I'm sitting on Dreamcast discs. It's called Only Ass. I don't know.
I still edit. I still edit for other people. I still edit for businesses. Locally. I still, even though I can do this, I still do like outside work as well. So
hey, even Evan got to leave his job. So there you go. It worked out. He's actually doing art stuff for commission work and everything too. So
those are on pause for a couple months. I got to retool that.
Oh, okay. Let's go to Ubisoft then. Evan, you want to hit us with that Ubisoft question?
This guy's wondering, he can't be the only one super hyped for Immortal Phoenix Rising since E3 more than any other Ubisoft game. So I guess he's asking, how's all your hype levels for Immortals Phoenix
I'm
Rising?
excited.
Okay.
Click, you played it.
Yeah, tell us.
Click to play it. Okay,
I mean,
tell us
to
about
me, it looked like Breath of the Wild, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, I kind of
It worked.
I first saw it and I was like, "What is this game?"
Steve Rand, there you go. Another Breath of the Wild game coming out.
That was the first thing I noticed about it. I'm like, man, this looks like Breath of the Wild a lot.
Yep.
I was actually watching Jeff Grubbs in the chat there, but I was watching his 30-minute playthrough where he was fumbling with the boxes. He couldn't like move them and stuff. So I was laughing at that. But as soon as I saw that, I was like, dude, this is Breath of the Wild. And I watched some other content of the game, and I was like, I dig this. I can get behind this. This looks kind of cool. So I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah. I have a video on it. I feel like I never say that during this podcast, but I do have a video chat, so feel free to go check it out. It's not 30 minutes though. Goodness gracious. No, they did give us a couple hours to play it. It definitely is Breath of the Wild. I'm not even going to say that. It's not. But I will say that's what works, because there are open world games, and I love Ghost of Tsushima so much, but there were things that I wish they had just done like Breath of the Wild did. I wish they had climbing mechanics in Ghost. Like there were a lot of long story short,
climbing was kind of bad in Ghost, actually.
Yeah, and I will say, if they had, and they're probably far into development, but if they had possibly been like, okay, well, it worked, it's popular, we're gonna do it, and kind of be shameless about it. Like, I think that's fine. I will say with this game is, we're only in one region. We don't know about story or character development. The character's kind of quirky, kind of goofy. I just don't hope it doesn't fall flat on the story side of things. But the combat was super fun. I did they have the flurry kind of dodging aspect. They have a skill tree. They have the skill points. They have full customization. If you like stats of other armor, but you want the look of another, you can transmog. And I was a big fan of that because I love customization. But the combat was just so fun with the big, giant, ridiculous weapons. To where it's a blast. It feels like a hack and slash, but also the dodging and the parrying just feels really satisfying. I would need to actually see how the character and the story progresses, because for me, I am a big fan of games like Zelda, and even though Breath of the Wild had some of the least story out of any of the games, I can't imagine a game that would have less than that and me fully enjoy it.
Are the weapons breakable in the game?
No, they are not. Because they are cracked from the gods.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have the hammer of I don't even remember the gods' names. There's so many, but the sprinting mechanic, was fun, and it doesn't. And the mounting, when you have a mount, you can just call it and it just appears. You jump up and it just appears, and then you can't kill mounts or anything. The gliding mechanic was really fun. That to me, it was elements that Breath of the Wild had, and then they evolved on it. You know what I mean? I loved Breath of the Wild, but the combat left people wishing for more. And especially that items and weapons broke. Yeah. They kind of wish that wasn't a thing. So I feel like if you did enjoy Breath of the Wild, this, in my opinion, could be a very fun exploration experience. But, again, I'm just going to disclaimer, because we didn't get to see any of the story. I can't tell you what the narration or any of that composition consists
I was a little concerned because the character looks kind of generic when they were showing them, but then they showed you being able to create your own character. So I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be fully customizable.
Yeah, so we'll see on that, because it could have just been a character they made for the demo was kind of generic kind of looking.
It was. They made us all play the same character.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
There was. We couldn't change anything. We couldn't really change anything of the skill tree or the points. So there were abilities still that we didn't even get to add on. So button combos and stuff like that, we didn't even get to try.
Yeah, this game's out.
I'm curious just to unlock it.
This game's out in less than 3 months.
Yes.
Yeah, December 3rd. I mean, honestly, if you're gonna do something like that, you might as well go all in and just do Breath of the Wild. I mean, they jumped off a cliff and started gliding. They were climbing up cliffs.
Is the Switch version coming out on the same day?
I believe it's all supposed to launch at the same time.
I
believe so.
I think the press release says so. I think it says it's coming over. Apparently, Stadia is going to get an early look at it, so the 12 people who still have it can run around the island. So that'd be fun. What'd you think, Nate, when you saw
it? To me, it just came off as a Breath of the Wild clone, where it didn't seem like it was doing anything unique in its own way. You see, oh look, we're in one of these dungeon things, and we're doing a labyrinth, and we're picking up boxes almost identically to Breath of the Wild.
It's definitely a shrine. Yeah.
There's inspiration, and then there's just blatant ripoff. And this game is flirting with that line. And to me, it's if I'm going to play a Breath of the Wild like game, I'll play Breath of the Wild. I don't need Ubisoft's half-ass effort.
Will you play it again, though? You know what I mean?
You call it half-ass, but this looks like they spent some time on this game, right?
It does.
It looks like they spent some time. It looks pretty cool. Yeah, it's inspired a lot, but I mean, like, it looks better than the Genshin Impact games, right?
It's from the Assassin's Creed Odyssey team, I believe.
Yeah, and it does look better. The Genshin Impact game looks like they just took like anime and said, "Oh, let's do Breath of the Wild anime." And this game looks higher quality. The UI font not the best, but it looks higher quality. I mean, yes, maybe it's not as good as Breath of the Wild, but at the same time, I think it's still gonna be fun. And I think it's $50. I don't think it's not 60, is it? I think it's 50.
I don't know. I don't
really?
remember.
Oh wow!
I'm just gonna say,
if
you're wanting something to tie you over, you know, in between now and Breath of the Wild 2. Maybe you'll enjoy it. You know, I could say this. I'm pretty excited for it. I could experience it and then not.
But if I'm looking for something to tie me over between Breath of the Wild 1 and Breath of the Wild 2, it's called Age of Calamity.
Yeah, but that's a Warriors game. I want to play an open world
game.
It's a Musu.
Yeah, it's a Musu.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to feel a Zelda-inspired Ubisoft game. It's still going to have the Ubisoft problems that they put in every Assassin's Creed game and every game they make, and there's nothing about the demonstration they showed. It's Ubisoft at the end of the day. I'm not going to get now. People are going to give Ubisoft the benefit of the doubt.
Nate's out here lifting up Ski Sniper and tearing down Immortals.
So I agreed up until I watched Click's video on it and seeing her actually have fun with it and actually seeing how she was working out problems and stuff made me think it's just more Breath of the Wild. But to me, that's fine. I've definitely said that like mimicry isn't always an insult. And I talked to Wood privately, and Wood said that he had a blast with it. Wood from Beat 'em Up. So
do we have any idea how many currencies will be available in this game?
I know, right? Are there time savers?
Is there currency that you spend to change the name back to Gods and Monsters? Because
say that. I was just about to say I love what we seen on it. I'm like, okay, that looks pretty fun. And I saw everyone's videos. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm down. That name is stupid.
I don't.
It's Immortals. No. Why they have to be unique and name PHYNX PHYNX? No.
I like Gods and Monsters more.
PHYNX is a callback to StarCraft too. So I mean, there's other games that have
this ain't StarCraft 2. You know, this is Immortals. So either be Immortals or be Gods and Monsters, but don't be no PHYNX who's rising.
I like Gods and Monsters more. I don't know. I mean, it's just
Gods and Monsters.
It might have been a marketing problem in some countries.
Maybe.
Yeah. I wonder if they ran into like licensing problems or something.
They could have.
I don't know.
Games have different names in different countries. I mean, that's you know.
Yeah, they could call it Gods and Monsters here and Immortals somewhere else.
I'm kind of at
the marketing, right?
I don't know. I
feel
the
same
like
poster.
Star Fox, Starwing.
Well, this is my thing. Is like if there's really successful things that like games have done that kind of change the atmosphere of an open world game, to me, climbing and gliding. You know, like if you're gonna be stubborn and just avoid it, like that's fine, but it could create like a hindrance of enjoyment for some people. Again, I'll go back to Ghost after I've played Breath of the Wild, or Horizon I played after I played Breath of the Wild, and those are two similar climbing mechanics of predetermined spots. God of War was very linear, so that's a different conversation to have. The other thing is, I think I just forgot it actually. I literally don't remember. But I mean, I would be more upset if people like specifically just avoided those gameplay elements just so they don't get like blamed for copying. You know what I mean? Like I feel like if it's enjoyable and it works, just do it in your own way. You know, like the gliding and the wings and everything. Like to me, it was more fun than just paragliding down in Breath of the Wild. Because it actually like you can dash into enemies and knock them back. You know what I mean? Like it has other uses.
I was going to say, I think sometimes like when stuff gets ripped off, it's great. Like there was a time when everybody was trying to rip off Doom, and it really kind of modernized to first-person shooter control style. And sometimes when people refuse to rip something off, it's a detriment. Like remember when the Lord of the Rings game came out and they introduced the Nemesis system, and it was so ingenuity. Just seeing like this AI created, like making bad guys for you that each one has their own original lines and fears and reason for hating you. That was so cool, and we thought that everybody would rip it off, and it seemed like the whole games industry decided, let's not rip off this absolutely genius idea.
No, Assassin's Creed is the only one who dipped into doing it.
No, they attempted.
And they did it great.
They attempted it in Warframe, but it's a little too grindy.
Yeah, I think they said something or said some sort of hint like it might have something like that in the Gotham Knights game as well. It sounds like there may be bad guys in there. They're also algorithmically created.
Let's go through the rest of this.
Though, PHYNX Rising Revengeance, and I think that's a good name change. So I want to point that one out.
Revengeance?
Yeah, Rising Revengeance, like Metal Gear.
And since we're wearing Doom shirts, we do have to do a shout out. Somebody put Doom on a pregnancy test, and since two of us are wearing shirt, we have to give a shout out to the Doom pregnancy test.
Let's go through the rest of the Ubisoft review. I'm just gonna, I guess, go run through a few of these because it's Riders Republic.
It's an RGT game, man.
I'm a casual racer. I'll play it.
RGT, that's RGT's game right there.
And then we had Rainbow Six Siege is going to next gen consoles this year. All right, 4K support up to 4K 120 frames.
I was waiting for that one.
Tom Clancy's next gen.
Watch Dogs Legion will have Aiden Pierce. Apparently, everyone asked for him.
Who?
I was laughing when they said that. Yeah, everyone asked for Aiden. I didn't hear a damn person ask for Aiden Pierce, but maybe I'm not looking.
Come out.
Okay.
I'm so tired of hearing about this game, man.
They talked about Hyperscape for a few minutes for turbo mode. So there you go. And then they showed Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. And
what were you guys expecting with Prince of Persia? Like
anything but that.
Did you expect anything?
Not that.
But
I thought it was cool, but
it was always going to be that though. Like
that's not a remake.
Everyone's like, oh, maybe we didn't really want it.
Well, maybe they shouldn't have called it a remake when it's a remaster.
But the problem is, it technically is because it's in the Assassin's Creed Origin engine.
Then how does it look?
And we could tell because it looked awful.
Didn't they remaster it on the PS3? It's a PS2 game that they remastered on the PS3 , right?
No, that was a new game.
No, they released it. They did a remaster collection on the PS3, right?
Yeah, there's a collection.
You're right. Yeah,
they did the original
PS2 game though, with in 1080p though, or whatever.
It looks like it doesn't look good, but I'm getting it day one. I love Prince of Persia.
I'm gonna get it too.
Like I love a masterpiece.
I love Sands of Time, but like,
aren't they charging like $40 for it?
$20. Game share, Nate. Come on.
Oh God.
You got to share with you. We'll go $20 a piece. $20 seems like a fair price.
That's exactly. You're gonna have to find somebody random, like, please pay for half of this, please.
Gosh, I don't really know what happened. The environments. I watched trailer a bunch of times. The environments look good, but then the character models look bad. That's the problem.
What happened.
Okay, what happened?
Ubisoft set up that group to fail because they didn't give them anywhere near enough money to make that game. Like, they gave them like $1 million and said, make the best game you possibly can.
Plus, they're showing alpha footage, a few months before the game's supposed to launch?
They did an interview with the guys and they said, apparently it's just a couple people, but they were told, just make the game and you have all the freedom you want and you have all the budget you want. But you're right, it's probably just $1 million of like 5 people in India, I think, right? Isn't it? It's like it's Ubisoft India, and they're just making
Mumbai or something like that.
If this is a test and this game doesn't sell well,
that's my concern.
Does that mean like we never get another Prince of Persia game?
Which sucks even more because the original trilogy for this was the sealed package. That was like this great story.
Dude, if Prince of Persia relies on this release doing well, you might as well just call it. Like that was not a good introduction for.
I just don't understand why they only announced it for current gen.
Can you play them on backward compatibility on the Xbox? Those games?
I mean, they did say like pretty much all Xbox games will be back compatible except for Kinect games. So I would assume so.
So why bother remastering or remaking?
Oh, you're talking about the original Xbox version.
Yeah.
The original Xbox version isn't back compatible.
No, it's not. Okay. Well, I mean,
it is on Steam though, so there you go. Get on Steam.
I'm just upset we didn't. We got a Breath of the Wild Ubisoft game before a brand new freaking Splinter Cell game.
Okay, hold on. Splinter Cell. They are putting Sam Fisher in Rainbow Six. He will be there. They had an old trailer.
That's pretty cool though. It's pretty cool, but it's not.
Is it though?
Well, because Rainbow Six is cool to watch. I don't like playing Rainbow Six, but I think that it's pretty fun to watch.
Look,
but
I feel cash. I feel cash. It's like I'm on my dating app and I'm swiping. All of a sudden, there's really sexy Sam Fisher, and I'm like, oh yeah, swipe right. And
if you're on your phone, then
my
date. If you're on your phone, then you're playing the Ubisoft Tactics game with him in it.
Oh no! It's old man Sam Fisher shows up with.
I want Splinter Cell. I think we're gonna get Splinter Cell, a remake of Splinter Cell, like maybe like the 1 or 2 or 3, like Chaos Series. I think they'll remake one of those.
Will it look like Prince of Persia remake?
Oh no!
Probably.
The original Chaos
Series, where everything's getting remakes, and it's like we're never gonna get a new game, are we? At this point, we're never gonna get a new Splinter Cell, a new Prince of Persia.
I have to assume that all of this Prince of Persia stuff, all these, all these Splinter Cell cameos and stuff,
it has to lead to something, right?
It has to lead to a new Splinter Cell at some point, and it might be like 2 years from now.
It's just going to lead to new cameos
now. I'm expecting the Immortals announcement of that Sam Fisher is going to be in Immortals.
No, right? Sam Fisher's going to Just Dance at this point. Okay.
Oh my god,
they were going to do it.
He'll be a DLC skin in the new Prince of Persia game. It'll be good.
If they do that,
I can't wait for the next Watch Dogs trailer. It's like, and now you can play. You got your Aiden Pierce. He's back. But what if you had Sam Fisher?
Someone in the chat saying you can play Sands of Time on the Xbox One. So yeah. Get the Xbox Series S and play Sands of Time. You'll be good.
Jordan, when you were saying
Cost you $2.99, whatever.
Well, hold on. How are you going to put the disc in the Series S?
Oh, you buy it. Are you?
But it's digital.
It's all digital. It doesn't have a disc. Oh, buy digitally on the. How much is it on the Xbox store? Is it $2.99?
Probably like less than $5. I'm thinking.
Okay. So I experimented recently. I was buying some some older games on there, and I think a lot of the Xbox 360 games are like $5 or $10,
that just
and then
feels
a lot
icky
of
though. Playing a PS2 game, like I need the disc. Just get the original Xbox and play it on there. The OG Xbox.
Get that HDMI.
We have technology.
I got that.
Yeah,
HDMI connection. It's $4. Prince of Persia Sands Time on the Xbox store right now.
I'm going to do that comparison. It's going to be a remake versus Xbox One.
It doesn't say what it works
the remake and just have both the pictures side by side. Guess which ones came out in 2021.
Imagine if I just reviewed the original game and just didn't even tell anybody, and I was like, it's the remake. Like, who's going to call me out?
Yeah.
It'd be a good video.
So, and then we had Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. It's coming back. This was really impressive to see because people are really excited. Of course, been in the making for a while now. It's for the 10th anniversary, I think. And I saw RGT85 say he doesn't care about Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, so that's why he's really not on the podcast tonight.
Nate, how do you feel about Scott Pilgrim?
Happy for the fans who really enjoyed the game. I thought it was always an average River City Ransom clone. It never hides of River City Ransom.
It's definitely better than River City.
It is so much better. It's
what
funny,
are you talking
dude.
about?
No way. That game was average at best, and it only became the super hyped thing after they took it off the digital store.
It's definitely better than River City Ransom.
It's really good. I played it day one, actually. Back in the day, my friends and I, we only had an Xbox 360, and we bought a lot of those. They used to do you remember that Spawn Wave? They do the like deal of the month or week. Where they put something at the front. What do they call it? Xbox Live Arcade deal of the month or whatever. And for a whole month, that was the banner. So we bought it and played it and loved it.
Yeah, right. That is a much better game, Nathan, than River City Ransom. What are you talking about?
What? Is crack legal in your state, Nate?
there is some truth to what he's saying. Like when a game gets delisted, a lot of people,
I know that. Yeah.
A lot of people have that nostalgia and that. Oh man, I wish they brought that game back, and it's coming back. So it's a good thing.
Someone in the chat knows what's up. River City Girls is better than Scott Pilgrim.
River City Girls is definitely better than Scott Pilgrim. Like I personally feel
better than Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim has a lot to live up to right now, and unless they really change the fundamentals of that game, it's not going to live up to half of the beat 'em ups.
I can see why people think Scott Pilgrim's better than River City Ransom. Like I can see that, but River City Girls definitely seems like it's a lot.
Is the music as good?
River City Girls has an awesome soundtrack.
It's good music.
Yeah.
It's not better than Scott Pilgrim vs. the World music though.
I mean, because you guys love the movie? Is it because you guys love the movie that's why you're holding this game? Like it's like the
I'm not holding the game.
No, I mean the movie is good. The movie's
I like the movie a lot
because I watched the movie and I thought it was It was okay.
But I feel like if we're talking
mean
about the
it's
music
okay?
being
Really?
better or
Jordan,
worse than
school
one,
him, let
you
him
could
know.
just buy
If
the.
that-
You
if
don't
that
like
movie-
quirkiness?
Let's just be clear. If this movie was distributed by Nintendo, you'd love it, OJ. You're like, this is the best video game movie ever.
I love the Mario Bros.
Especially if it was
movie.
limited
I
time.
had the
limit.
RTX 3080.
I love the Mario Bros.
Sean.
movie. I love the Mario Bros. movie.
I need the. I had the. We were laughing about that with Sean. Because I said I had the RTX 3080 and he said he didn't care or I was gonna get it. And then I was like, I was gonna do a meme with the RTX 3080 with Sean looking at it like he's asleep. And then I was gonna put the RTX 3080 on top of a Switch, and then he's just freaking out in the other picture.
I'll give Scott Pilgrim. It has nice visuals.
What? Yeah, no, it looks great. The music's good. The music's
Good
great.
visuals.
Probably
it has
the
a solid soundtrack. It has average gameplay.
Solid soundtrack.
Average
That's
gameplay.
one of the best- What's a better beat 'em up? What's a beat 'em up better soundtrack?
River City Girls.
Arcade
Oh
game.
my gosh.
Final Fight. Double Dragon.
Oh,
Final
Double
Fantasy
Dragon for
4.
sure.
Double dribble.
Double Dragon soundtrack is freaking amazing.
Streets of Rage 3, 2, and 1.
Look at this
I
line
enjoyed
order.
the 4
Better
one as
soundtrack.
well.
I don't. None of those games have a better soundtrack.
Comic
I'll just put
Zone.
it out there now.
Comic
Man,
Zone.
y'all really like
Comic
stuff.
Zone.
Damn, I wish
No,
I liked it
there's
as
a
much
better
as you guys
soundtrack.
did. For real though, like I played it and I thought it was cool. But dang, is it? I need to play it again. That's what I need to do. I need to play it again. Then I'll really.
It's coming out.
sure.
Coming out
Yeah.
this.
I'm gonna buy it.
Still have it on
holiday?
last gen, and I booted up. I'm like, this game is still just okay. I don't understand the love for
This
it.
holiday, dude, people are buying hacked PlayStation 3s online just to play this game.
Oh, maybe I should sell mine. It's
You have a
installed
hacked
on the hard
PS3?
drive. No, but I have the game. It's
Oh,
still on it. I
okay,
never
you
played
probably
it.
sell
Isn't
it
that
before
tied?
it
That's
comes
tied to your
back out.
account, though, isn't it?
Oh well, I'll sell my account with the game.
Right, leave it signed in. Nate,
Are you
Nate,
still
I
use
want
your
to get
account? What?
it. Nate has a Taco Bell PlayStation 4. I kind of want to get it someday.
And a Taco Bell PlayStation Vita. What's the PSVR? Both came from Taco Bell.
What is the difference on the VR? Does it have a little bell on it?
It came with a $25 gift card.
And coating
Wow.
of Dorito
Oh
dust.
gosh.
That's it.
And
And
pay for like half a game. That's crazy. Almost half. A game.
It smells like Baja
Yeah,
Blast.
This is like Bob.
and I didn't eat Taco Bell to win. I used the free code they gave online. I put it in one morning and I won.
Wow.
That's honestly worse. It makes it worse. It degrades it.
Do we have any other Discord questions left, Evan?
Now we're clear.
All right. Any other thoughts on the Ubisoft Forward presentation? I think it was better than the last one they did.
Agreed.
yeah,
I give it a 7 out of 10. I thought
Well, the last
I
one
was
was
too
pretty bad,
stretched
though.
out. The big problem is 40. It was 45 minutes exactly. I timed it. It was 20 minutes of information. It should not have been that long.
I thought it was okay. Six or 7 out of 10. Yeah, for sure. It's good. I think it was a good show. And it's better than nothing, I guess. And they had a few pretty good updates on the games. And they had the PHYNX Immortals. They had Scott. Everyone's been crying for Scott Pilgrim to come back. Okay, it comes back, so you got to give it credit for that. And what's the other game that they showed off? PHYNX, and then there's a Scott Pilgrim.
No,
there's
they
one
showed
more.
off a long
Yeah.
sports game
obviously
battle
Prince of
royale
Persia.
thing.
Yeah, that wasn't great. There were some low parts for sure, but overall I thought it was okay. You know, it wasn't, and like Watch Dogs, they have that Aiden for those people like the Aiden Pierce stuff, whatever. But no, it was all right. It wasn't. I think it was better than the first one for sure because there was no mobile games, right? There was no mobile games at all. There was like 3 mobile games last time. This time there was none. So that's.
I don't know if we can give them credit for that, OJ. they cut some of those.
But we complained about it last time, so
That's
so why
true.
can't we give him credit this time for not having mobile games? So.
As we'll finish up with the super chats and the Streamlabs, then let's go to Jordan. Says, shout to every. It's Jordan. Jordan
I didn't say
says,
nothing.
shout to everybody on the
Thanks for super
Spawncast.
chat, Jordan.
No problem.
RGT85 needs to quit smoking so he's not sick every other week.
True.
True.
If y'all don't already, y'all should all be following. Like, if you're a Twitter person, you have to follow Sean because he will just have random pictures at 2 a.m. of him like talking to fucking raccoons and smoking cigarettes and stuff.
Not far off the truth, really.
It's just true.
No, that's actually it's the truth. He will.
Yeah,
have
they try to
pictures of
rob him. It's pretty
with
entertaining.
raccoons
Steal
and
his
him. All sorts of crap.
Chris says, do you think Series S will get a mid-gen refresh or Pro model to keep up with the games in 3 to 4 years? I don't think it will. I think it's gonna be the Series S. I think they're gonna stick with this model for a while.
I think it's good for a while.
I mean, if it was like the CPU was like still Jaguar cores, I'd be like, yeah, they can't go with that for much longer. But then we have Bradley says, I pre-ordered 3D Mario All Stars, $79.95. That's in Australia. Australia is the $499 and then $749 for the Series S and X.
Oh yeah, the Australian prices. Yeah, I've seen that.
Wow.
That's normal.
Okay.
Given the exchange rate and everything.
Shinru says, "Evening all. Sorry, I'm late. Anyone think Sony would try to undercut Microsoft with the PS5 sold for $450 to $400?" I think the most shocking thing would be if they undercut it at all.
Yeah, I think they want to very badly just to make sure they win, but financially, these console makers, they're all losing. Like literally every console sold, they're losing a little bit of money, so they can't cut too much.
If they get the digital edition to $399, do they just discontinue the PS4 Pro? Because that's still sold for $399 right now.
I would have already discontinued it by now and just not said anything. I just stopped sending shipments.
Do you think the Pro's just discontinued and going forward it's just the slim PS4, the digital, and the regular PS5?
Yeah, then they'll probably slowly get rid of that PS4 Slim as well. Like it'll just be a slow, quiet thing, and they won't even make a big deal out of it. Like remember the Xbox One X they stopped shipping that thing like months before people realized it, and then eventually it caught up with the stores and people started to realize it. It's gonna be like that probably for Sony. They'll just stop shipping it, and then like 3 months later everyone will realize there's just no more showing up.
Do you think they'll keep the Slim at 200? Just 200, then 400 for digital, 500 for disc PS5?
I don't know, because they'll just have to move on from that. I mean, Sony is very serious about this generational break, like the way they talk about it. So I feel like they're, as soon as they can, they're just going to stop putting resources into making them. And then
I think they'll do what they did last year with the Spider-Man. Was it last year or the year before with the Spider-Man thing? Like they'll have like an incredible deal on the Slim as the low end system, during Black Friday and the holidays, where they'll just sell out. Yep. So I see the Slim hanging around a little while longer, probably into at some point next year. But you're right. I think, the goal is to phase them out over the next 12 months.
You know what the best built system is that Sony made this generation? It's the PS4 Slim. There you go. Interesting. Best built system. The Pro is actually quite poorly put together. That's pretty bad. Let's be honest. Their Slim is very good. Their Slim is shockingly well put together.
Their Slims are usually the best. Have you noticed that? Like whenever they do the Slim version, it's usually the best one. Even dating like the PS2, that Slim was great. The PS3 Slim was great. They always have good Slims. Everything else seems to be
away from the
wacky.
Super Slims though.
I didn't say Super Slim.
Yeah, I want to make sure people have the distinction.
Yes,
I
one's
have the
ghetto.
PS3. I have the PS3 Super Slim, and like 80% of the disc tray breaks.
Yeah, the PS2 Slim introduced that the APU setup. That was the first system to do that. So there you go. They're making moves to the Slims. Yeah, there you go. Random piece of knowledge. Famed Guardian says, "Will Sony address anything with quick resume UI?" Yeah, I think they'll do a quick tour UI, show off some load screen stuff, be like, hey, look, we look how fast this loads, and then they'll go into a game or something and start
put
it up.
In action.
That would be the cool way. The best way to do this, that'd actually be pretty cool, is if the whole presentation started by starting up the system and you see the home screen, and then in order to present each game, they literally just go through the UI and hit a button and it goes through into the game, and that's where the presentation starts. That would actually be pretty cool.
That'd be hardcore.
Do all the talking for them.
Kushu says, I found this discussion about paying for a product over several months funny. In Brazil, we pay for any type of product regardless of value, anything.
Brazil.
Emmanuel says, what are your thoughts on a Dreamcast Classic? I think it'd be great. I think it'd make me happy. So Sega won't do it. What were your thoughts, Max?
I think it'd be a great idea. The big thing that's in their advantage is that they still own all their own IP. So if they made a Dreamcast Classic, they could just make Jet Grind and Skies of Arcadia and Sonic Adventure and Crazy Taxi.
They very well, with that Dreamcast Classic, could potentially make the best classic plug-and-play system you've ever seen.
There'd be no Offspring in Crazy Taxi. They'd have to take that out. So is it really Crazy Taxi without Offspring?
It isn't.
Strangely, in the Crazy Taxi community, everybody hates Offspring. Only us filthy casuals enjoy Offspring.
I need to talk to the Crazy Taxi community after the show.
They're like, you'll find gifts. They're like, here's my favorite thing about Crazy Taxi, and it shows them turning the music volume down to 0. It's like
to give everyone some hope.
Austin John. He got the whole arcade.
Yeah,
cabinet
I saw that. That thing's
with
crazy
the whole
looking.
seat and everything of Crazy Taxi in his place.
Yeah,
I wish I was
Offspring is
rich.
Crazy. They're kind of corny, so I get it.
I will give people some hope. The Raspberry Pi 4 is pretty cheap and it plays Dreamcast very, very well. So Dreamcast emulations come a long way, and I feel like M2 could do something with that. So just saying, Sega. I think people would pay up to. How much would people pay for a Sega Dream? I would pay up to $150 for one.
For a good one, yeah. I mean, if it ran the games really well, 150 and it was built well, and everything was in, it wasn't cheap plastic and all that stuff. I would defininely do 150 for it.
If it has Skies of Arcadia on it, it's worth $100.
I mean,
we're talking about software library here.
I mean, look at the Dreamcast software. Like, you can throw some stuff on there that make it worth it.
Sonic, yeah, but you need a light gun. You need House of the Dead. You need Dynamite Cop.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Then I ain't paying 150.
Confidential mission.
Exactly.
Okay, so Nate's out. Okay, so we're all going to be playing Skies of Arcadia while Nate's
you need Gun Valkyrie. You need all these great. You need Typing of the Dead.
It'd be the Dreamcast version, wouldn't it? Skies of Arcadia. Yeah, the Dreamcast version. It's good, but it's the Legends has the extra stuff in there. But no.
Well,
you need Skies of Arcadia. You need Marvel vs. Capcom. You need
Sonic Adventure.
Nah,
1 and 2. You might as well throw them both on there. You have them.
I also throw 1 and 2. You need the original Shenmue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you need House of the Dead. You need all those light gun games.
Oh, what if they did that? Shenmue 2 in English for the first time on a Dreamcast?
It's true. Or without
Soul Calibur 1.
That would require a budget. So no.
Get M2 on it. They can make it happen. That Genesis
Power Stone.
Power Stone 1 and 2.
Well, let me ask you this: would you rather have a Dreamcast classic or a Saturn classic with all those expensive Saturn games on it?
Why can't I have both?
Because this is Sega, and we're just trying to get them to make
Sega, and it's Sega, and we're going to get it, and you're going to turn it on. It's not even going to work. So
what? The Genesis Classic was actually well put together.
Yeah,
that was a great system.
What are those little things they were making coming out? Weren't they making like those little like?
The Game Gear keychain.
Game Gears are the size of like an SD card.
Oh, yeah.
I ordered one of them.
October 2nd, right? Isn't that the release date? October 2nd in Japan.
It's just going to show up randomly on my door one day. I don't know.
Yeah.
Nice.
Dude, which one did I order? I think I ordered the light blue one.
I missed the pre-order. I didn't get it, so I'm not getting one. I want one though.
I didn't get any.
But I was gonna say, yeah, I would pay. I would, no joke, I would pay $150 for a good Dreamcast Mini.
If it's good, yeah. I mean, you might as well. I mean, why not?
As long as the controllers are this small, as long as it's not that, we're good.
It has to also have egg. If it doesn't have egg, it's not worth it.
Elemental Gimmick Gear. I love that game. Nobody even knows that. Only you and me, Nate.
I know.
You know the true Dreamcast.
We would occasionally get copies of it in the store. We know about.
At one point, we had 6 of them, and it wasn't worth anything back then. Now it's worth a bunch of money.
It's true. You know, I used to get a bunch of copies of what's the Evolution 1 and 2. It was the algorithmic, like,
yeah, I remember that.
It's a story, and every time you'd go into the dungeons would shuffle themselves like Diablo, and everybody hated that back in the day.
They brought that series to the GameCube.
Did they? Might not.
So, because no one wanted to play as a little anime kid with a big ass hand coming out of his back.
It is really cringy. He's like, check out my robo arm.
Let's go through the last few here. Justin says more like Hyrule Warriors Rogue One, if you really think about it.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Accurate.
Mata says smoke from the West Coast forest fires blowing north of the border causing post-apocalyptic eclipse effect. I've seen some of those pictures on Twitter. It is crazy.
Be safe, friends.
Yeah, those people on the West Coast. Be safe out there.
Yeah,
it's no joke.
That looks wild out there. Some of the pictures. Like
the orange.
Definitely be safe.
Like
as someone who grew up in Australia and has experienced bushfires before, just be safe.
Conway says, I don't believe in a 4K Switch, but what about a dock that boosts the Switch to 4K? Maybe an SSD to hold the 4K assets. Hyped for Age of Calamity, by the way. How much would that dock cost, do you think?
And we'd assume that a lot of companies would go back and add 4K assets to their game. I mean, we're just upscaling things that are, 360p to 4K sometimes?
If they do anything with it, I think they're just going to work on AI upscaling. I think that would be their big thing.
But AI upscaling still requires some games to at least have like a good standard, and not all games hit like a good standard to take it up to that. So like,
we need 540p.
Probably more, if it's going to be good.
They have those demos showing 540p to 1080p. There you go.
Yeah, but we're talking 4K. Jesus.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see if they get the 540 to 4K. Kick says I've never played Zelda until I got my Switch and played Breath of the Wild and pretty much knew everything. Loved the game. There you go, Rand. There's a vote of confidence for it. There we go. Waver says, you think Nintendo and Xbox collab again like Smash? Oh, like do another collaboration like they have Banjo technically in Smash. Just drop Master Chief in there. It'd be fun.
Wasn't there supposed to be an Xbox game at the last like Nintendo Direct? I could have sworn I saw.
I thought there was
tweeting about that and stuff.
Yeah, it got pulled. It'll be announced. Should be announced this year.
Oh,
Things are getting delayed.
Whoa, Nate, hold on.
It's not Halo or anything before that ends up on Reddit.
It's probably just the other it's probably just another it's probably the other Ori
Did
game.
you say Halo's going to be on the Switch, Nate?
No.
I'm pretty
Everyone
sure
see you tweeting. You're such a piece of shit.
It's probably. I mean, the Ori's.
Did Nate just take Gears on Switch? That's crazy.
We have the which
Thanks,
Gears or is it Judgment?
Any of them, all of them.
Only judgment.
Only judgment. Only judgment.
Only judgment shall prevail.
It's probably the other Ori game, I would assume. I mean, that's off the top of my head.
Wait, Judgment? What?
Yes, MVG, that Judgment.
No, so not Halo, not yet. Bummer says Series S and plus Game Pass equals compelling proposal. I'd agree. I mean, for the holidays, parents going in to buy something, that would work.
What do you think the split's going to be for Series S's and Series X's? Like how many? 2 to 1?
I think 2 to 1. I think the Series S. Oh, you mean how many they make?
Yeah, I mean, because obviously it's going to come down to how many they make. Do they make more Series S consoles than X?
Yeah,
do they make less X because they're gonna lose a lot of money on them, and they'd rather push the S consoles? Like, what do you?
I would say they make twice as many S consoles. Yes, absolutely, and they'll see how that goes with the first run of them. They'll sell out of all their systems. They'll sell probably 1 million units in the first 24 hours, just overall, like usual. And then they'll probably assess what sold better. And I have a feeling those shelves are gonna be stocked heavily with Series S systems come December, like after the first wave is through, and like this first week of December they try to restock. I bet you it's like a ton of Series S systems find their way into Walmarts then. It's too good of a deal for parents who are just trying to figure out a gift to get for their kids, and it's like, oh, I get this, and Game Pass is $300 and they get all these games like that. It's the easiest thing to sell. Like I'm gonna buy a Series X, but I know a lot of people who would go in and just buy the Series S because it's cheaper. Bummer says, what's the room temperature on Hyrule Warriors 2?
Pretty good.
Good.
Oh, I like a 72.
Oh, does that mean our opinion?
Yeah.
Oh.
General read.
So far, so good.
Excited for it. Yeah. Looks cool.
Good way to round out the year for Nintendo. I'm excited.
Zoop says, haven't played Breath of the Wild yet. Love Ubisoft Quebec. What do? Joel Garcia says Sam Fisher might show up in Smash.
Never.
Maybe.
No.
I mean,
he's in everything else.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Edgar
Sam
says
would be great.
Shantae for Smash.
But there's already Snake.
Confirmed?
No. I want Shantae for Smash.
Edgar says Godsmack needs to do the theme song for Sands of Time remake. That game. And then we have Bad Gamer says Battletoads has better music. Can't change my mind. Nintendo Power with super chat, no message. Then we have Juice Man Vaughn says beat 'em ups have gotten way better since Scott Pilgrim came out. How is that game going to be impressive with River City Girls and Streets of Rage 4 out? We'll have to see the reception and the sales on it, I guess. See what happens.
That's always the problem a lot of times with these remakes is that you can't help. You're going to judge it by its time. And now, like, everything's gotten better. Every game has gotten more into it.
Seems like a much better, from what I remember of Scott Pilgrim compared to Streets of Rage 4 seems like a much better game. But like I said, I need to play it again. I need to play it again. So
it's going to be the complete edition. So I have the DLC that got delisted too.
Yeah,
so
I remember Scott Pilgrim being way better because it was silly. I like silly games.
Zaire Miller says people said Kingdom Hearts is complicated. You didn't see Fate Nasiverse lore. Still love the series. If you want to get into Fate, start with Fate Zero. Great show with the most beautiful animation and fights.
Is that people are talking about anime in our chat again? Jesus. No weebs. Weebs out.
They can both be complicated, all right?
What's wrong with anime?
No weebs.
Tesla Volta Games says, I have DC HDMI on my Dreamcast. I love my Dreamcast. Was playing Sonic Adventure last week on it. The best launch lineup ever and the most dense. Good library. Well, a couple other people about to get some DC HDMI attachments here soon. So yes. And then Venicera says, thank you for another entertaining Spawncast. Thanks to everyone for tuning in there. I'm going to go to Streamlabs before we finish up. Oh, we do have... Oh, Angel says, has there ever been Resident Evil console edition?
Yes, there has been a couple. The most notable is there is a super incredibly rare Resident Evil Code Veronica Claire Edition Dreamcast. It's theorized that there's about 16 in existence. There is some photographs online, and it looks awesome. It's purple with a huge red Claire.
There's a Resident Evil 4 GameCube, I believe, too, that they did when that dropped.
Yeah, you guys just talk about the red Xbox 360.
Because they did that for RE5, right?
I have one of those. Yes, it's got a red ring on it, unfortunately.
Oh, perfect. It matches.
Red ring, yeah.
Depending on how the footage comes out for tomorrow, that actually might be a theme in video tomorrow. We'll see.
Hey, Max, since we mentioned Resident Evil, is there a chance we see 8 again on Wednesday, or are they going to wait for Tokyo Game Show?
No, we're not going to see it again. They're probably going to wait till Tokyo Game Show. Maybe not even then. The main thing I've heard, the game is very done. The game is very ready. But they're kind of just like, how much of this do we show? Like, how much? I honestly think they're going to drop another demo because the demo was so successful for Resident Evil 2 remake, Resident Evil 3 remake, Resident Evil 7. All of those demos were massively downloaded. So I think we're probably just going to get a download at some point for Resident Evil 8 demo.
They're gonna roid up Chris Redfield a little more before they launch that game.
Yeah, he needs a couple more shoulder muscles.
He's so lumpy. He's like, hey, bro, how's it going? You trying to pork my sister?
And then Nintendo Prime. Nintendo Prime says just showing some love for one of the best podcasts around.
Damn,
thanks Nintendo Prime.
Check
out Nintendo Prime's channel too. And Eric says, think GameStop will have trade-in deals soon to upgrade to next gen consoles. Probably, yeah. They'll probably do something where it's like you get $200 or something crazy for your Xbox One or PS4. They always do that, just try to get all the systems in so they can try to flip them again real quick during the holidays. And we're gonna do outros while I go through some of the Streamlabs stuff. I'm gonna do that. Rand, thanks for joining us tonight. Do you want to tell everybody where they can find you?
Yeah, thanks for having me on again. You can find me on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/RandLthor19. I talk about Xbox mostly, but we're gonna be talking about PlayStation a lot here in the coming days. Their showcase event's going to be here on Wednesday. Really excited to see what Sony's going to offer, but I appreciate you always asking me on to be on the show. It means a lot.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of fun having you on. We've got all kinds of cool Xbox stuff to talk about this week, so it made sense. But it was a good time. Let's go over to Streamlabs while we go through the outros here. Liam says, also, were any of you charged right after you pre-ordered 3D All-Stars? Curiously, I was when I pre-ordered it the day after it was revealed on Best Buy, even though they say they won't until it can be shipped. This makes me hopeful that I got a copy. Which places do? Some places do that and some places don't, right?
Best Buy does it on I pre-ordered 2 copies on Best Buy, and they took the money out right away. I pre-ordered 2 copies on Amazon, and they didn't take the money. So
sometimes Best Buy, depending on how far out the purchase is, they'll pull right away as a hold. They'll put it back, and they'll recharge you day of.
Okay. Mr. Pete says Xbox memory cards are a double-edged sword. You know they work, but price will never go down because it's proprietary. PS5 is going to be a mess with people trying to install SATA M2 drives because they will not check if the drive is compatible. That's going to be that's the thing I'm really curious about the PS5 is the storage.
I also think you'll see in maybe a year other companies make the cartridges for Xbox. I think Seagate maybe just has a 1-year exclusivity deal with Xbox. I wouldn't be surprised if other companies eventually start making cartridges down the road.
The PS5 one's going to be weird because they are going to have to, I guess, give us a list of validated M2 drives that we can use, like the NVMe. And we have to, I guess, drop them in the back. We'll see.
And that 825, they're going to take 100 gigs off that for the operating system, right? Presumably.
I'm going to estimate we probably get like 768 or 770, somewhere around there after they take some sort of storage for the.
Because on my 1X, I have a 1 terabyte, and you can use 780. I mean, that's like 120 like 220, is it?
Yeah, they're gonna have to cut some of it out. I'll be curious if they try to optimize around that too, so you get as much as you can out of it. It's gonna be interesting when we turn it on and see how much space we actually get out of that thing. And let's go to MVG. Where can they find you, man?
You can find me on Twitter at Modern Vintage G, YouTube Modern Vintage Gamer. I have a video coming out on Monday talking about GoldenEye for the N64. Interesting video there that I'm currently finishing up. Thanks for having me on, and yeah, big week next week, and I'm sure Nate and I will be on his show as well, talking about the PS5.
Awesome. Drew says, how will weekly sales figures for games be affected next gen when majority of gamers will own a digital-only console? Oh, for like the weekly sales, like Famitsu and anything that tracks physically only.
It won't be counted. So they're just not going to be counted.
Well, like NPD does get some digital sales other than from Nintendo. Yeah, so NPD shouldn't be affected too much for that.
The UK is going to start doing digital, but I know some people have access to. Yeah, they have access to digital sales so I think they'll just start talking about it or including it in. The only place that's not going to just be like whatever is Japan. So
Jeff Burns says, just to point out, the Xbox payments thing from what I'm seeing is $24.99 for 24 months for the S. If that's the case, you're paying $600 for the 300S, $35 a month for 24 months for the X, which for the $500 X would be $840. That's no interest. That's with Game Pass Ultimate on top of that. So it works out pretty well overall for that. Wishbone says, on Sega Japan official YouTube channel, not the American one, they highlighted my comment of me saying, make a new console. So I'm not sure if they're hinting a remake of one, but I hope it's a new real device for next gen. Thoughts? Maybe Spartan console. The Spartan console, unfortunately, is probably not going to happen. If they do anything, it would probably just be a plug and play system with some of their legacy software. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're going to make an AMD powered box or anything like that. Miss Click, where can they find you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. You guys can find me here on YouTube as Miss Click Gaming. Again, I do have that video for Immortals PHYNX Rising that is up on the channel. And then actually, we will be having the highlight video for the Among Us night that'll be going up soon. So if you're wanting to kind of have that and kind of a funny compilation, that'll hopefully be up on Monday or Tuesday. And then you can find me live almost every day on Twitch. You can type in Miss Click Gaming there or just MissClick_live. Other than that, Twitter, Instagram, you can find me as Misclick.
Reese says, hey, Spawncast, I've recently found my old GBA SP. I wanted to know what prices are generally too good to be true for GBA games and good places to purchase some GBA games. Game cartridge by itself is fine.
I would say, honestly, get a flash cart. Flash carts have got really cheap. You could put literally every single GBA game ever released, fan translations, everything all on one thing. And then as you're playing through that, the games you enjoy most, then you can go out and buy the ones you want.
Well, if they want
to
if they want to collect for it, it's going to be a little more interesting. GameStop, every Game Boy Advance game I've gotten from them has actually been pretty good in terms of being real, because you could run into an issue where you get counterfeits on eBay, for example, and it's very easy, because if you go on like AliExpress or something, they have bundles of like 10 copies of any Pokemon game, and they're all just counterfeit copies of it. So it's very easy for that to kind of get passed through to where people are trying to come up with full like tutorials on how to tell if it's fake. So I would say, like, what else? eStarland, that's a place as well. GameStop, like I said, it's been shockingly good when I get mine from them. And there are a few other retailers as well online that do it. I know Pinkarilla, they'll do like their Twitch. They'll do like the Twitch shopping network at night at times. That's a good time too. You just say, hey, let's check out the GBA games, and they'll walk over and check them out. That's another one I would look at, because they know what's going on there. They'll open up everything and check it out if they need to. So, and then we have Matthew Hammond. Would Ubisoft make Pit an exclusive character if it comes to Switch? I think it's talking about for the Gods and Monsters game that they're doing, Immortals. I mean, that's coming to the Switch. I don't know if they would. I mean, they could collaborate with Ubisoft. It's possible.
Didn't you talk about that at one point on our show, like maybe about 6 months ago?
Yeah, just kind of as like a prediction thing. If they really wanted to sell the game on like the Switch and give it that special Starlink, Star Fox type connection, that Pit and Kid Icarus would have made sense when it was, Gods and Monsters. But now with this PHYNX Rising Immortals stuff, it really doesn't fit well to throw Pit in that game because a lot of it's about customizing your main character. Maybe you can customize it to look like Pit or like Palutena or something, but the core gameplay really wouldn't fit that style anymore.
Let's go to Nate. Where can they find you?
Find me on Twitter at Nate the Hate, followed by the number 2. MVG and I will have probably 2, maybe 3 podcasts up on that channel next week.
Well, what's happening? What's happening?
It's going to be a busy week. You'll find out when the week comes.
Oh, because I know there's a PS5 event. What else happening?
We'll find out.
Oh,
and
wait, are you confirming a Nintendo Direct?
No, I am not.
The Switch 2?
No.
Switch 2.
Switch 3?
Yes.
I thought you said there was a direct coming up, didn't you?
I did not say a direct was coming up. You spread the rumor, and we got 5,000 people to watch that, and now they're leaving disappointed.
Did you directly say a direct tapping or indirectly say a direct
I don't know what Nate's talking about.
Delete that tweet, OJ. Delete it.
I ain't deleting nothing because I'm almost positive Nate said that. So,
OJ, where can they find you?
I am not finished yet.
find me on.
This is my time.
Nate's
This is my time.
I thought you said
Also find me on Twitter at DarkFeed Games, and I will have a comparison video up next week where you will find nowhere else on either Thursday night or Friday morning.
What is it?
You'll find out on Thursday night or Friday morning.
Ski Sniper 2.
Did the next Ski Sniper come out? I was gonna say.
It is a comparison, damn it.
Of Ski Sniper 1 versus Ski Sniper 2.
Yeah, all the new add-ons.
Where can they find you, OJ?
They can find me not wearing this Nate the Hate shirt anymore. That's where you can find me not wearing it. No, I'm joking.
You can find him on Twitter making up stories that I said a direct was coming this week.
I'm gonna actually put the Nintendo Direct logo right here on Nate. That's the thing right here, you know, like
God,
a little
It's a great idea, by the way.
We're gonna hide direct announcement from the background, like Xbox Series S's.
I think I might actually do that, though, to be honest. But my mom can sew, so I might just get her to do it for me. You can find me right here on YouTube. I stream daily. I'm a streamer. I also edit content and stuff. So Nintendo RPG stuff like that. So yeah, next week I got some cool videos coming up. Got some more discussions and stuff like that. So it should be fun to kind of tune in. I'll be streaming pretty much all the events and stuff that happens next week. So if you want to come hang out, talk about video games, have chat, like we have like a video game like shows, like where we just talk about like I answer a bunch of questions. If you want to come hang out and talk and have a couple mom jokes maybe here and there, then yeah, come through.
And then we have Shamsa coming through with the big 200. Shamsa, you have to come by when we do the stream. All right, because that was a ton of fun. Shamsa's been trying to get us to do some sort of like Spawncast stream game of some kind. Among Us is a ton of fun. So I think we're going to do that this next week.
For the podcast record, I have not been invited to join this game. Only Sean has been.
I've not been invited.
We're buddies like that, Nate.
It's MVG. Awesome. So if you're having a Spawncast thing, you've only invited Sean, and you're leaving the two of us out.
Can I just say something really quick? Hold on. Hold up.
We tried.
If I was in charge of this,
yeah,
you all would be invited. But y'all have been making these, all right?
You know what? I'm
invitations going out.
I'm invited myself.
Class and conveniently leave out half of them.
Hey, the way this worked was someone messaged me, was like, "Hey, you want to play Among Us?" And I was like, "All right." And I was all of a sudden I was on a title card.
I didn't know who was involved. Wood reached out to me and said, "Hey, play with me," and I said, "Okay." And then I saw the listing that everyone was there, and I was like, "Oh, well."
Everyone
MVG understand.
I hit him up and I said,
I remember. I'll remember when I get Shantae codes. I get it, guys. I get it.
Yeah.
We'll do a Among Us. That'll be fun because we can actually.
Yeah, you know who Among Us is going to get a code? MVG and me, not any of you.
You don't sound mad at all, Nate.
Actually, you know what? I kind of want to see Nate try to play Among Us. That would be interesting.
No, y'all just kill me. I won't even do anything. I won't even be at the game. You're be like, Nate did it, and I'm like, the fuck.
He's gonna rage so bad.
Yeah, he will. All right, Shams, you got to come by for that when we do that. We're gonna play it next week, and I'll tweet it out.
I
will murder everybody in this game.
People in chat are still actually congratulating Miss Click on trolling me in that game. That's toxic.
I'm invited to this one, right?
That was good.
Am I invited to this one? I just want to make it confirm, right?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Let's figure it out. Let's figure out the call. There could be 10 total. We never hit 10 last time, so I think we could probably hit 10 total.
We'll figure out a night.
Invited.
Well, I don't know if it can be
party.
Thursday. I guess it can be Thursday.
It could be Thursday.
I think so. I'm trying to think of what else is happening.
I mean, it could be tomorrow.
I mean, obviously, just the PlayStation.
Tuesday, Wednesday. Be a lot of days.
Real quick, Liam.
No, I'm going to enjoy Thursday Night Football. The hell with all of you.
No, you're not going to enjoy that. Who's playing?
Hold on. Nate, will you play Among Us with us?
No, fuck all of you.
Damn. Nate, okay, so Nate's in. Liam says Age of Calamity reminds me of Rogue One or Infinity War. We kind of knew those endings as well, but they were still great. Also, great stream, guys. School just got canceled again after only being back for a week, so it's nice having this to listen to. And I think that's everything there. And let's go to Max. Where can they find you?
YouTube.com/Dreamcast guy. I just broke 189,000 subscribers. I'm getting a couple hundred a day now, basically. Yay! So the goal is still to try and hit 200,000 this year, which if everything stays on this explosive growth, I'll hit 200,000 very soon. And I just want to thank everybody. Honestly, the amount of people that while I'm streaming and stuff talk about loving the Spawncast, the amount of times where I make a video and someone's like, I can't wait to hear you talk about it on the Spawncast. Like the fact that there's so much overlap, honestly, that makes me happy. It makes it like this is a family. And I'm so glad to grow with the family, you know?
Hey, someday we'll go on tour. We'll do the Spawncast tour at a convention or something. Someday.
It's true.
Like 5 years from
we'll
now.
just keep saying it. It'll never happen and then it'll be awkward.
We were going to try. It was going to happen this year.
Let's try a convention. Let's try a one-time event first.
Fringe and I go on tour every year.
Too many
Fringe
games.
and I are always at PAX East.
Too many games.
Yep, we're representing.
Yelling at fans.
When we stop being famous, when we start losing subs, that's when we go on tour to get the easy money.
I want Nate to have the mask and then carry a megaphone.
Oh, man.
Megaphone? I don't need a megaphone to be loud.
No, like
Nate would be the one to talk calmly through a megaphone.
Hey everyone, it's me.
Hello.
Talking through a megaphone.
Shut up, Fringe.
He said the line. He said the line.
It's his catchphrase.
And everyone goes crazy and claps their hands and
that would be fun.
Women faint and stuff.
That would be fun.
Hilarious and original.
Spawncast panel. And then Andrew says, can we get Dreamcast games on Switch already, please? There's too much money to be made there, so Sega's going to bypass that. Matthew says, I look forward to your podcast every week. Love your stuff. Keep up the good hustle. Thanks, Matthew. And Evan, to close us out, where can they find you?
Kimmer's Project on Twitter. Yeah.
What about Fringe?
This was part of the joke, but okay, Jordan, go ahead. The joke was to just try to. Okay, go ahead.
You don't want to. No, let Evan go. Let Evan go.
Because I forgot your intro last time. So I was gonna forget your outro this time and then come back right before we. Okay, go ahead, Jordan.
No. Let's go ahead. It's Evan. It's fine. Evan already started. I'll wait.
Go ahead, Evan.
It's Kimmer's Project Twitter. Normally, if I do stuff on Twitch and things like that, it'll pop up there. Normally, I try to stream Wednesday, Thursday, Friday on Twitch. Usually midday on Wednesday, Thursday, and late night on Friday. So yeah.
J Money says Bug Snacks biggest esport of the 2020s. Okay, everyone, thanks for joining us. Well, Jordan, where can they find you?
See, the reason he's doing this is because he doesn't want me to announce. He doesn't want me to drop the.
No, go ahead, drop it. Drop it.
All right.
You haven't watched The Boys yet, so I don't know anything to worry
We're
about.
gonna get to it, all right? Because we have to do videos. All right. So everyone, we teased it for like a year, a decade, a year at this point. We've had one-offs on Spawn's second channel, but Film Wave is actually a thing, and there's the link to the channel right there if you want to go pre-subscribe for content.
Oh, you made the channel
soon. Yeah, the channel's ready to go. It's just content will be made for it. My regular content will resume shortly. I've been on a very demotivated kick for a little while right now, and I've had half a video made, and I got to finish it, and I want to make it as good as possible. But yeah, you'll have some content over on Film Wave.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I made that. Funny enough, I made that during this episode for a minute.
There you go.
But yeah, go check out that channel. We'll have a bunch of content coming there soon. It'll kind of just be a round table of a mismatch
we're just
of all of us.
People from all the different podcast members. So, like, I want to talk about The Boys. That's the one I really want to talk about.
We'll talk about The Boys. We'll talk about current shows, movies, all that stuff. So if that interests you, go check out the channel. If not, well, all right, understandable.
That's going to do it here for Spawncast. It was episode 180. We'll be back next week. It sounds like there's going to be a lot to talk about. So we'll be back next Saturday. All kinds of stuff going on. And we'll see you guys then.
Bye, friends.